Hey, happy Monday. It's the last Monday of April. That's how close we are to football and basketball season as we swing around the corner. We're the Wise Guys, Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler. This is the largest BYU sports live stream show in the entire world, and we're available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and our home base, wiseguys.com. Our new podcast will be out tomorrow, which is available wherever you can get your podcasts, and so we're spanning the globe.
And the chat's already up and rolling.
Look at that.
As it always is. People
started without us.
From the minute we get on, people are already on the chat. Ridgecast, California, and Robert Robb is in here. Ben Hansen from Cary, Idaho. From Beaumont, Texas, Michael Zimmerman. Lori Galvez, Orem, checking in. We love it even if you're just down the road. Boyd Lake. From Leander, Texas. Great to be a Cougar fan. Yeah, it is right now. John Crowder from Harriman. Conrad Monson, and a lot of names that we see every week. Ed Bunch saying, "Hey, a big yes for you and Richie, you guys and Richie Saunders, right?" Yeah, so
yeah, that's huge. And Conrad, send some of that San Diego sunshine up here. It's kind of a chilly day.
Notice the name that we haven't seen very much. Jocelyn Allen. Jocelyn's the cheer coach. I wonder why she's logged in tonight. Jocelyn, feel free to chime in if our first guests don't get it right. If the real authority needs to chime in, we'll hear from Jocelyn. So
there's Lisa. Greetings from the beach in El Salvador.
Oh, all nice. Right. Yeah, El Salvador. Thanks in the house.
Dialing us in.
We get excited about like unique places from around the world. But you know what? We're equally excited if you're just chiming in from Orem.
Yeah.
But we also love El Salvador and Singapore and Japan and all places all over the world. Recently, we've been in South America on a regular basis, over in Europe on a regular basis, Japan. Pacific Rim and Asia on a consistent basis. So we love it. No matter where you're from, we love that you're in.
Craig's got us in Pocatello right now, and there is Huntsville, Alabama, hopping on the stream.
Craig, I'll be driving through Pocatello on Friday night on my way to Idaho Falls to be one of the co-hosts for the Fan Fest on Saturday in Idaho Falls.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Michael Zimmerman says, my oldest son's birthday was yesterday. My birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday to all the Zimmermans.
It's a big birthday week at the Zimmerman
House. Yeah, that's a lot going down.
Evidently. Sean Orleon, I don't know how to say that, but check it in from Orem. So Sean, thanks for checking in. And hey, we want to remind you all not only to be in on the chat, but subscribe to our free email, wiseguys.com, ysguys.com. You can watch all of our past content there if you go to that site. We'd love it if you hit that free subscribe button on your YouTube channel. All these things help us continue to just keep rolling with the Wise Guys and continue to bring on great guests and have great content and great people to talk to, and we love all of you on the chat as well. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, subscribe at Wise Guys, get our weekly email. It's all free.
How about Jess rolling in? First chime in a couple of weeks, Saratoga Springs.
Jess, where you been, man?
We've had some awesome shows. Last week we had McKay Madsen, Brock Harris. That was awesome. Those interviews are waiting for you. We're glad you're here, though.
Hey, but how about Steve Houston from Enfield, New Hampshire?
Okay.
Listen, so, and I don't know if that's Houston or Houston because I'm from New York, so that exact same spelling of Steve's last name, the street on the southern end of Manhattan is called Houston Street, not Houston. So it
feels like it should be Houston.
It should be Houston, but they call it Houston for some reason.
Wise Guys, thrilled as always to have Brady Plus as our title sponsor. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and services and repairs with over 150 distribution facilities across the country, over 6,000 employees. Their products are everywhere from the Pentagon to Disney World to probably right down your street. So we appreciate Brady Plus. They have been with us from the get-go, and we love having them as part of the Wise Guys. And we're going to add some friends to that list coming up shortly. We're real excited about it.
Very excited about it. Deseret News has been with us now as our distribution partner. Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. You can watch for all of our content on their social media sites as we serve Cougar Nation all over the world. Grateful to have Deseret News, who continues on with us as our distribution partner.
Here's what we got coming down tonight. BYU Hoops adds a couple of key pieces, some new and some not so new, but they've got a team right now. If they just took the floor right now, this is a top 5 team in the country just by the polls that are out there. We'll talk about that and how big it is to have Richie back. And we've got a out of the box, kind of the out of the box theme tonight.
Yeah, and John and Doyle, you're asking about basketball. We're going to cover all the stuff that you're talking about here in just a little bit. So hang tight with us, and we'll get to more BYU hoop stuff. How do you become a member of the BYU Dunk Team?
Yeah, they're always having the time of their life.
That's a big question everybody's asking. How can I be on the Dunk Team? Well, Dave Eberhard is going to be in studio with us tonight.
Yes, he is.
He is going to talk to us all about the Dunk Team and the high-flying group that we see at halftime of basketball games and other events around the state. And so if you ever want to know what's going on there and how you become part of that, or what, all about it, we're going to find out tonight on tonight's show.
BYU Football gets another big-time recruit who was headed to a blue blood and then turned around and said, I'd rather play for this blue blood. And so we'll talk about that. It's something every day. It's something big every day, every week for sure.
Yep. And then the BYU Cheer Squad, national champs. This is kind of a national champ kind of the last couple of weeks for us.
All champions are welcome here.
Yeah, when we recognize a national champion, we bring them on the show. And so you had the landscape national champs on just a couple of weeks ago. I was on the cruise that week. But we have 4 members of BYU's cheer squad that brought home a national championship a couple of weeks ago down Daytona Beach. They will join us in just a few minutes.
We believe they are transporting the trophy.
I hope the trophy's coming. I told Jocelyn,
we'll see.
We hope they brought the trophy. If they didn't, they'll have to just tell us about it. But there's going to be a story too that I want them to tell about the trophy.
Okay.
So we'll ask him about that.
Carlos Iglesias, our friend, is going to join us, and they are using basketball to change lives in Africa, and they need some of our help. So Carlos will join us later tonight. We'll talk about what's going on and how Friends of the Wise Guys can help make a difference in a land far, far away. That actually Keba Keita, Moet Mag, Kadeem Mboop, and those guys will be involved with this summer.
Absolutely.
So Carlos will join us a little later on. So it's an awesome show to wrap up the month of April.
Yeah, and by the way, Adam Streeter says, he's just weighing in on the pronunciation of Houston versus Houston, and he says, Cat's Deli versus Texas Barbecue. That's the pronunciation difference of Houston versus Houston. So he's talking about Cat's Deli in New York versus good old-fashioned Texas barbecue, which you had a bunch of when you served your mission.
I'm taking the Texas barbecue
and that's
for 200.
That's why they say Houston down in Texas. They say at Houston in New York. And you know what? It's all good. It's all good.
All right, so Jess is excused. Did you say that he's been busy doing high school softball games? I hope the Lady Cougs softball has a great weekend against Texas Tech. That's a huge game for them coming up.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, you're excused, but we're glad to. The beauty of the Wise Guys is it's always available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Even if for some reason you're busy on a Monday night somewhere in the world and you might miss a few moments of the Wise Guys, heaven forbid. Let's dive into some basketball. And, I always hate when people say this is what we expected, but a lot of times it's things happen that we expected as opposed to us spending the last couple months going, I think he's going to leave. It's always been Richie was expected to come back. And until he made it official, there was just a little mystery of, well, maybe he's not because he hasn't made it official. Well, the other night on his Instagram, he made it official, and he's back for year 4.
Yeah, and what was that question was, he needed to do his research to see where he might be in the NBA draft. Not, hey, do I leave BYU and go someplace else? Right. That was never the question for Richie. And we had been told, a month ago that an NIL deal and all kinds of stuff, I'm pretty certain involves tater tots in some way or shape or form. It has to. But was in place. So that wasn't ever the question on Richie. It was, could he get enough interest that he'd be drafted in that first round and perhaps go out along with Yegor. But after all of his due diligence, he's back. And that's huge for BYU.
He's back. You get a first-team all Big 12 performer coming back. That's how big that is.
Yeah, and he is a core guy. And you retweeted his and made a comment. I retweeted. My comment that I retweeted was, this is exactly what Kevin needed to be able to have a core player that understands everything that's expected, that has played through the rigors of a Big 12 season, has been a marked man in terms of he's the guy BYU had on the roster that every other team designed their defense to stop from scoring, and he still was one of the top scorers in the league and was first team all conference. He gets it. He's a culture guy. He's a glue guy. He's a scorer, and he is going to help AJ DeBansa and all these other guys that we're going to talk about be better and gel as a team. He was a must if BYU is really going to be a top 5 program.
We're gonna have him and his wife Sierra on coming up here shortly. My comment was just bang. It was just bang.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
How big
that's
that was.
Right. So.
Also, since we were last together, Dawson Baker and Brody Kozlowski both announcing that they are returning for their next season. And it wasn't like a earth-shattering thing, but you know what? Today, players just get to do it. They're gonna, the graphics team is gonna put something cool together, and I'm gonna say we're rolling it back or something. And they get their moment, and that's the world we're in. So all 3 of them had their moment. All 3 are back next year.
Well, and here's the thing that happens in today's day and age, and I'm just saying in the last couple of years, with the transfer portal and with the money that's out there in NIL and all that kind of stuff, you wonder. So somebody like Dawson Baker, who was a really effective bench player for BYU, he had some really good moments last year. Everybody asks, well, he's not projected to be the man next year. Does he go someplace else and be the man? Dawson Baker has chosen to become a player that will have an integral role, but not be the man on a team that's a top 5 team preseason probably next year and has a chance to win a national championship.
Who doesn't want to be on that team?
I respect that, right? And then people were asking about, well, Brody, he didn't get that much playing time. He was the 6A player of the year back-to-back years. Like, what's going on?
He broke his hand.
People forget he broke his hand.
Yeah.
Before he broke his hand, he was one of the top 3-point shooters in practice every single day and was getting close to working his way on the court. So Kevin Young's talked to him, and we talked to Kristen, and told him about his long-term role with BYU. He liked what that vision was for him. He's going to work like crazy down the floor, and he can be a knockdown shooter at 6'7" tall.
I talked to Brody on campus the other night, and he's feeling great. Had a good semester. The class we were in, I said, "Did you get an A in here?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay,
they're very good."
That's good. And getting cleared now to get back into contact, and you got to have your hand.
Yeah, especially if you're a shooter to play basketball. Yeah,
but he is so excited about who's coming. Why wouldn't you be? The circus is coming, and you're in the circus,
right? And here's the thing: even if you're not the man, but you're there with one of the most talented teams in America, scouts are in the building every night. Like, everyone gets exposure, and you go out and you play, and people get a look at you while they're there looking at AJ. And all of a sudden, there's opportunities out there to play someplace, right? And so, it's all good for all these guys. BYU adds Kennard Davis Jr. To the roster from the transfer portal.
This is huge.
6'6" sophomore guard. He comes from Southern Illinois, a very good conference that Southern Illinois plays in. He averaged 16.3 points and 4.9 rebounds a game this last season.
He's the starting 2 guard next to Rob Wright.
Yeah, and unless
they get someone else,
Dominique Diomande can play the 2 or the 3. He's more likely to be a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I can see Dominique Diomande, who also officially signs with BYU. How about those 2 pickups, right?
Yeah.
So Dominic also signs with BYU, and he comes via University of Washington, where he redshirted, but France before that,
right,
where he was on the U21 national professional team, right? And he averaged, shot 51%, averaged 16 points and 6 boards a game.
Yeah.
But the reason they were so excited about him, because Kevin Young says he is a lights out defensive defender. And I thought the first thing that popped in my head was
Moet Mag. Yeah.
Everybody's asking, who's going to replace Mag? Who's going to be the shutdown perimeter defender? And remember, Moet wasn't a starter at the beginning of the year.
No, he hardly played.
And then Kevin decided, you know what we need more in our starting lineup? We need a defensive force in the starting lineup. I'm going to start Moet. And then guess what happened? He blossomed as an offensive player. So I'm just saying Dominique is going to play a role, and if he can be the guy that fills that role for Mag, he's going to play a bunch of minutes. And he's just a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, and you got Kadeem Mboop, who's 6'9", another elite athlete, defender.
Yeah.
I think it's just the team. They still have a few pieces to add, but they have what they've got. They have what they need to go out there and be a contender.
When I've been doing this for 30 plus years, let's just say 38. That is right, isn't it?
Came up with 38.
No, I just started to add them. I was like 30 plus, and then I realized 38.
All right.
For 38 years, and you've been covering it almost as long as me.
Yeah, I'm a lot younger, but close.
We're going to ask the cheer squad when they come in, who is younger, me or you? No, because you already told them. But
they know.
But you
They're
know
just
what?
looking at us.
What are we like 4 years apart or 5 years apart? Something like that.
Well, I just barely turned 58.
Ooh. So we're 4 years apart.
4 years apart.
We're 4 years apart.
Yeah.
So
it's like an entire.
So we've been doing this. We've been doing this a long time. When have we ever said about BYU or any team in the leagues that BYU played in, including the great San Diego State teams? You want to know what? This team has as much talent as anybody in the country, period. As much as Duke, as much as North Carolina, as much as Kansas, as much as any of those teams, this next year, they are just as talented as any team in the country on the basketball floor.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
We've never said that about BYU. Now, can they gel as a team and play as a group like they did last year? If they can, this is going to be something special.
And we'll be complaining. I told you we were only a top 12 team.
Right, exactly.
Not a top 5
and
team.
we covered some great teams in the Mountain West Conference, and I covered the Atlantic 10. Like Dayton had a great team in that league one year with Toppin, who's a star in the NBA right now. Never in any of those did we ever say this team can compete with Duke, North Carolina. They have as much talent as those teams. And any of the leagues that BYU's been part of. So this is pretty fun to say that about BYU.
Live streams hopping tonight. Rick from Tokyo checking in, says Batty was robbed. Okay.
You want to know what, though?
We'll talk about football
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But if I'm Tyler Batty, and I know that he feels this way because he mentioned it to my son earlier today, you would rather go to a team as a free agent that's been kind of recruiting you and saying, if you don't get signed, like, we want you immediately, than get drafted late by somebody that wants to fill up the practice roster for camp.
Yeah.
So I think he's in a good place, and I think he's going to have a shot.
Transfer portal closed last week for basketball, so kids can't get in it now. They're
in there.
Over 1,000 in there.
Yeah, they're in there.
And those that are in there, they can shop all summer.
Yeah.
But you can't get in there now until it opens again.
Is there a transfer portal for cheer? We'll have to ask them if there's a transfer portal.
I don't know if
for cheer.
There should be an NIL for cheer.
Yeah, but well, you think about it.
Yeah, we got
when
a lot
you
of great
win a
ideas.
national championship, people are going to be trying to steal your team.
You
right?
came to the right place for good ideas.
Yeah, so
right here.
NIL and transfer portal for Cheer Squad. They're here in the green room, by the way.
I've got a new article in the Deseret News this afternoon on the portal and its impact on the game. It's changed everything for good and not so good.
Yeah.
And it's going to stay crazy until there's some regulation, some rules.
Yeah,
right?
it's nuts right now, and BYU's managed it well.
It's done well
They
for us.
managed a rocky ocean pretty well, and now with the talent that's in there as of now, because they've kind of reshuffled these way too early national rankings, and Jeff Borzello has them ranked number 7 in the preseason top 25, but a bunch of different rankings, like John Rothstein included, has BYU ranked number 5. I saw a couple of number 4s.
You know, when they
BYU.
say the way too early, the only reason they're way too early is if you're not in them.
That's true. It's way too early if you're not. Yeah.
Well, it's too early. We're not in it. When you're number 4 in that, you're like, yeah, that's spot on.
How about 24/7 Sports that kind of ranks recruiting classes, has BYU's recruiting class number 2 in the country?
Yeah.
That's never happened.
That's never happened.
Although Ed Eyestone told us here when he was in here that in track it happens.
Yeah, it happens cross country.
He says
all the
very
time.
quietly in cross country. They signed the AJ Debansa of cross country, and then on the women's side, and then she just went out and broke the U.S. national record.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, they just signed so in track they do, but.
BYU's going to be in the Jimmy V Classic December 9th at Madison Square Garden. It seems like the whole cheer squad should be back there.
Oh, yeah.
Madison for that
Square
one
Garden.
in New York.
Yep.
And Jimmer today announced his retirement from, actually over the weekend he announced his retirement from competitive basketball. And then today he was named the managing director of the USA Basketball 3x3 national team. So he was retired so that he could
move right into administration,
move into an unretired spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's going to be perfect for him.
So,
the whole world knows who he is. When he shows up, USA 3x3 shows up with him.
Yeah, and it's so fun. Now, Jimmer and Whitney just spent a week on Cruising with the Cougs, and they got a little bit of time. I know that Whitney had to sign off on that thing. And Jimmer was so gracious and so good to fans, and he was talking about not playing anymore, but he didn't mention that he was going to go be in a big executive position on a global scene with USA Basketball. So it's pretty cool. I'm trying to think. Kylie went on the cruise. Who went on the cruise? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you did too. That's right. Yeah, so you guys were on the cruise. You saw Jimmer running around and talking to fans all the time then. Yeah, it was great.
We wish Jimmer the best. He's a frequenter of this program. We'll get him back on and see what his vision is for Team USA. Some football news just ahead of our visit with the BYU National Champion Cheer and Stunt Squad. Fan Fest over the weekend in St. George, a big success from all accounts. And another one coming up Saturday out at Freeman Park for you folks in Idaho Falls, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll be over there on that one?
Spencer Linton and I are going to co-host that one live on Sports Nation. They'll have athletes there, coaches there. Going to be really, really fun. No cheer squad this weekend, though. The cheer squad was represented down in St. George this weekend, but tryouts are this week. So cheer squad won't be there. But there'll be some Cougarettes there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
There'll be some Cougar tails and shirts,
all kinds of gear,
all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll have athletes to sign autographs from a bunch of different sports. We'll be doing interviews with them live there and coaches. So
that'll be going on while BYU's playing Kansas State in baseball at Miller Park.
That's right.
Here in Provo. So it's another big weekend. Four-star offensive lineman Bott Mulitalo commits to BYU. He joins the class of 2026, which is impressive already. He had previously committed to Oregon. So it's another four-star shift from going this place to why would I go that place when I can play for BYU?
And it just continues to get better over and over again here. I'm on, basketball and football. Football's quietly fashioning one of the best recruiting classes in history here. You add to him, the right. Well, we're still waiting on Ryder Lyons, but the tight ends they got. We just talked to Brock Harris on the show last week. Big tight end out of St. George, and the news just keeps piling on. Every week we hear somebody else committing.
Well, think about it. You got this kid picking BYU over Oregon. McKay Madsen picked BYU over Oregon and UCLA on NBC. That hadn't happened before. Brock Harris picks BYU over Michigan, Georgia, and Miami.
Yeah,
it's not beating Utah, Weber State, and Utah State.
Exactly right.
It's Georgia, Michigan, and Miami.
It's really fun. So it's like the wins just keep piling up. And I just watched some Mulitalo film, Bott's film. He's coming in as a highly decorated offensive lineman. I'm looking at him. First of all, he's a monster. Second of all, he's really, really athletic. And as I'm watching him, I'm going, man, that dude needs to play D end or D tackle. Like he could play on either side of the ball, and who knows what he's coming as an offensive lineman, but he is so athletic he could play on either side of the ball and have an immediate impact. So this is a big time recruit. It's going to be fun. Ryder Lyons still waiting to announce his plans. If you listen to the interviews with Madsen and Harris, they both believe that he's coming here. And they're trying to do all they can to get him to come. They were texting him and all that stuff, which is cool. That McKay said it best. He goes, I have a vision of Ryder giving me the football or not, and I fake into the line, and then he throws over the top to Brock Harris, and all three of us run down and celebrate in the end zone. Yeah. That's a vision a lot of people share. And if McKay had it, I believe it. Yeah, absolutely. So that's going down. Former Cougar, by the way, Keelan Marion committed to Miami, so we wish him the best of luck. Yeah, great. Returning kicks and catching passes for the Hurricanes. Weston's in the stream from Nebraska here tonight. Good to have you with you as we span the globe here on the Wise Guys. And we always like when Belle Biv DeVoe jumps in, because that's a band that takes me back to my younger years, right? Couple more football notes before we move to the cheer squad. Since we were last together, some key dates came out for the college football playoff. First round are still TBA because those are at sites, home sites, like in Provo, right, if that's a place. But when you're making holiday plans, I like to know when the quarterfinals are. And in the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl are on the Cotton Bowl's on December 31st, and then the Orange, Rose, and Sugar are all on January 1 where they belong. That's the quarterfinals for the playoff. The semifinals are the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl this year, January 8th and 9th. Okay. Then the national championship game is in one of the fun cities at that time of year, January 19th in Miami, Florida. Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, it's a great stadium too, pro player. Who would the Cougs play in that? In the national championship this year? Yeah. I feel like they'll probably... Like Ohio State or something? Or Georgia. Play Ohio State or Georgia, probably. All right, so just circle that in pencil for your calendaring as we look into the new year. Let's update you on the NFL draft, and we'll give you the names of the Cougars who
have places to earn a living at. And we start with Batty, who has a free agent deal with the Vikings, undrafted free agent deal. No Cougars were drafted this year. There were a couple we thought Etienne, we thought Batty would get in for sure in those late rounds. Darius Laster thought he would be in that late round.
Yeah.
But the draft is funny. Once it starts, it takes on its own thing. Like a certain quarterback who thought he was going to be like the 4th pick overall is dropped to the 5th round. That's how convoluted things get. But Batty's got a shot with the Vikings.
Yeah, and I think it's a good place for him. And as I mentioned earlier, they kind of talked to him leading up saying, hey, if we don't draft you, but if nobody else drafts you, we want you here. So he's going to a place that he's wanted. And Darius Laster, and by the way, we'll either say free agent signing, meaning they've already signed a contract as a free agent, get a signing bonus, and are not in because everybody has to make the team, versus going to a mini camp to see if they can earn a free agent contract. And so Darius Laster's been invited to the Eagles mini camp. So he's got a mini camp invite.
Connor Pay to the Raiders mini camp. I like Connor Pay's chances, but now it's an opportunity to show up.
Yeah, and Blake Mangelson, and this news just changed today, really, because originally he was invited to the Vikings free agent minicamp as well. And then the Steelers said, hey, not so fast.
We'll pay him.
We will sign you.
We'll pay him.
We'll sign you as a free agent. So, and you know what? What were we saying this last fall? Mangelson reminded us of Brett Kiesel.
Yeah.
And Brett Kiesel was a star for the Steelers. And I would love to see Blake have a Blake Kiesel kind of a run with the Steelers. And I think it's a great place for him.
Caleb Etienne with the Bengals, free agent opportunity there. And Jacob Robinson, a free agent spot with the 49ers.
Right, signed.
He could get in there.
Yeah, and I talked to Jacob today, and he said that the Niners were ones that were talking to him all along, saying, listen, if we don't get you in the draft, we want you. So do not talk to anybody else if you don't get drafted until you talk to us. And he's got a connection there. The cornerbacks coach from Utah State that was there when he was at Utah State is now the cornerbacks coach for the Niners. And he's the one that said, I want you here. I think you can play for us. And then he's good friends with their top corner who's reached out to him and said, hey, come work out. I'm going to start teaching this defense. I want you on the field with me. That's a good spot for Jacob to be in.
I hope so. Because I would respond by, hey, you want me so bad? How about you draft me?
Yeah,
you got
exactly. But all you want is an opportunity. Jacob was excited because he felt like he's going someplace where they want him and where he will get reps and get an opportunity.
Braden Keim has got the Chiefs and Bears mini camps. Right. So he's got an opportunity there.
And Marquis Collin signed a contract with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers up in Canada.
Yeah, so
how about that?
He's heading north.
Yeah, he's going.
Caleb Lohner, by the way, former BYU basketball player, he got drafted in the 7th round as a tight end to the Broncos. So,
and Kalani's going to say, really? Because when he was a freshman at BYU, Kalani said to him, I don't know what you're doing on the basketball floor. I'm sure you're a great basketball player. I think you could be a big-time starting tight end in the NFL. Come play football. That was how many years ago? And that was he transferred to Baylor to play basketball. Then he transferred to Utah to play basketball. Then he played football, and now he's going to the NFL. So there you go. Kalani's going to say, I told him that I wanted him out here. So
all right, let's do a hockey change here.
Yeah,
you're going to come over here, and our cheer champs are going to come over where you are, and they'll stand right there. This is how we do it here on the Wise Guys. By the way, the NFL schedule is going to be released on May 14th, so that's coming up. And I bumped into Kyle Van Noy getting a chipping lesson over at Riverside. Talked to him for a moment. He's getting ready for another year with the Ravens. So that's our football fix for the moment. We'll bring these mics in. Jackson, get the mics up in here.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You guys step in.
And step into the table. And so what we'll do is, since there's 4 of you and 2 mics, just kind of lean in to the mic when we're talking so that everyone can hear you. Our guests tonight represent BYU's national champion cheer and stunt squad. Ammon Montenegro, majoring in journalism and sports media from Las Vegas.
Ammon on the end right
there. Okay. And
Ammon, you went on the cruise, right?
I was on the cruise.
Yeah, I saw Ammon on the cruise. So Ammon's fresh off of a cruise.
Andrew Pickett in exercise science from Idaho Falls.
And were you on the cruise?
I was not.
No, Ammon didn't go on the cruise.
You know what? You're still cool in my eyes.
Yeah, no, he's still cool. They're all cool.
Thank you.
Kylie Wood in communications and public relations in Draper, Utah. And Kylie Doxey, elementary ed from Lehigh, Utah. Welcome to the Wise Guys.
Thank you very much.
This is it. This is a big show for us. Just to have you here.
I like the decorations. You got the cheerleader, the megaphone, the other one up there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Look at do you like our like retro BYU?
My favorite one.
Isn't that?
You got the sticker on there right there.
And you don't know exactly.
And you guys didn't bring the trophy.
Guys, I'm really sorry. So I was in St. George this last weekend, and we brought it there, and it hasn't quite made its way back
Someone left
yet.
it in St. George?
No.
So wait,
because it's been left on the beach.
Kylie, you need to because I heard a story on the cruise about the trophy the night of the championship.
Oh.
That it got left on the beach. Is that true?
Or was it me?
I just know that grabbed it off the
Got an
beach.
immediate denial.
But it did get left there.
Well, everyone took their photos and then left, and it was just sitting there. I said, I should probably grab that. You might want to take that home. Everyone just got so excited.
It seems like there's been a little bit of a problem hanging on to the hardware.
Somebody.
It's a new thing.
I was going to say, we're not used to this. It's exciting.
It's something we're getting used to for sure.
Somebody had one job. They had one job to keep tabs of the trophy.
Kylie took care of it, but it got left behind, and she ran back and got it and said, shouldn't somebody bring this back in with us? But it got left in St. George.
No, it didn't get left in St. George.
It's supposed to get shipped back. Okay. So you have to send us a picture. We'll post it. We'll put it up on the air next week and show.
Okay.
But in the meantime, this is going to have to serve for it.
Hey, we'll grab it really quick.
So grab it and put it down with you guys. So
that's the Wise Guys Cup.
Because the trophy's about.
It's huge.
Yeah, we saw it. We weren't sure how
we're going to say that we're going to pretend like this is it.
The same.
So you're at Daytona Beach. You win the game day division, beat last year's champ Michigan, which makes you number one.
Yes, sir.
What does the game day division involve?
It's a lot of like flags and props. We had like scrolls. We had a huge flag that was almost the entire size of the mat this year.
Okay.
It was brand new. It had never been done before. It was so fun. Like we pulled it out and there was like an audible like gasp from the audience. People were so excited and surprised. But yeah, it's not the same as like the traditional routine we normally do. It's more captures the game day feeling and the atmosphere we have at BYU.
So more of what you would do in the stadium on a game day.
Yes.
It's like almost like putting a show on at a timeout kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Quite literally, we just want to like bring the vibe and the energy and the experience that everyone gets from Lavelle Edwards and put it all into 9 mats. And so if you were to watch it, there's like flags going everywhere, megaphones, like just the props, like putting them down is like in a very specific spot because we have such a limited spot to fit all the energy into. But luckily they were able to feel that energy when we were in Daytona.
And you guys know as well as anyone, BYU has been said by lots of analysts and broadcasters that there are very few college atmospheres like Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's no reason why we didn't win, you know?
Yeah,
that's why we won, because that's what we do.
And you guys are a big part of that on game day. So to go and win a national championship doing what you do at games, not just in Lavelle Edwards, but in the Marriott Center and in events all over campus, what was that like to go represent BYU on a national stage in this championship?
You know, I think when people think about BYU, they have a lot of misconceptions. Obviously, with having to do with the church and stuff, they think we're weird. And there's like stuff on social media about these random BYU campus questions that make people from other universities like think that we're just some odd group of super religious people. But it's really cool that we get to interact with other universities around the country. Yeah. And we're showing them that we are like very normal, but we're also like a really good group of people. Everyone sees like the dynamic of our team, and they can't explain it, but they feel like there's some sort of light that they are seeing when like BYU's around. And it's just like naturally.
It's what everyone says when they come to games here.
Yeah.
Whether they win or lose, and usually they lose. But when they leave, they go, man, it felt different. It felt different here. So you're able to take that on a neutral stage and make it happen. How does it feel to be number one?
Oh, it feels so good.
Yeah.
We're so happy about it. But just going off of what Ammon was just saying, it reminded me of something that me and Kylie were talking about just in the car. So she'll have to tell you more about it because it was actually originally her thought. Yeah. But she kind of just mentioned how like being able to represent BYU this way feels so much more special because we are like self-funded pretty much. So do you want to tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's it's so rewarding to go to Daytona. You know, it's for us. We support every team at BYU that know, you know, like we have to be our own cheerleaders, you know, and it's so much more rewarding because like we have to, like our coach does all the funding for our trip. Like BYU doesn't fund that for us, so it's just like so rewarding to go and win and make a difference and show BYU like what we have to offer.
Because there was just like so much extra that went into it for us to even be able to be there in the first place, that it just feels so good to know that we were really able to go and do our best and like really represent BYU the way that we always want to.
If you're listening out there and there's some sponsor that needs to come in and help these guys go defend their national championship next year, then let's go. And let's go. Right?
Because we're not NCAA, and so we aren't like funded by the school as athletic department like NCAA sports are. So our coach, she's like so incredible.
Jocelyn, she's on the stream tonight.
Shout out Jocelyn Allen. She is one of the most incredible.
She put in a comment that rah 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 rah.
Yeah, that's Jocelyn.
She's on. That's great.
She does a lot to get people to see the value in the cheer team and to invest in it. And what you guys and what everyone's seeing right now in the quality and in the winning at competitions comes in a large part of people investing so that we can focus on cheer and we have time to like do school, do cheer, and not worry so much about tuition because we have like partial scholarships now.
I was going to ask about that. So you do have some scholarships because of donors, right?
Yes.
Not funded directly through athletics,
So
right?
some of
Although
it-
you were in the athletic department.
Yes.
And Andrew, you got to get closer to the mic. Get closer to the mic because you guys, people see you visibly in football and basketball. They notice that, right?
Yeah.
You guys cover other sports, but it's not just sports. You guys go. Like, who was just down in St. George? You were in St. George, Kylie, this week at the Fan Fest. And you guys are all over the place representing BYU. Like, Andrew, what other types of things are you guys involved in other than just football and basketball?
So it's kind of cool. We're able to help out with a lot of stuff throughout the. Oops, sorry. Need to get a little bit closer.
Yeah, Andrew's the tall guy, right? He's not tall when he's standing on the basketball court next to Yegor and those guys, but he's tall with this group.
Yeah, we're little.
So it's a really cool opportunity to be able to represent the school in a lot of different ways. Like, I remember when I first tried out, like, just kind of going through the timeline, first thing we do in the summer is there's a bunch of Cosmos in the park, which is kind of like a smaller version of the Fan Fest, like a bunch of different parks all throughout Provo, which is kind of, if you guys have been to them, like, it's a ton of fun to be able to be at them. Another small thing that we get to do is we also provide a lot of service in the community. So, like, a lot of times when BYU wants to represent something or, like, show representation somewhere, we're able to go and participate. Like, I remember, like, we've gone and there was a kid who sadly had cancer, he developed cancer, and actually a few of us in Cosmo were able to meet him at the airport. We were able to like represent BYU there, share our love, share our appreciation, our support. We're able, like, we went caroling this year, like just like knocking on doors and spreading Christmas cheer to families who might need some. We were able to, like, I'm trying to think of all the different things now. You have one from last week?
Yes, so actually this is perfect. Just last week, I had the privilege to go with a couple other cheerleaders to Primary Children's in Salt Lake City, and I don't think I'm allowed to say her name, but we got to visit a girl that was on her 15th back surgery.
Oh, man.
And it was just so cool to be able to be there, and she like seriously was just like so bright, so much light. And so we get to do those things all the time, and those like are the those kind of opportunities we have to like meet people and just be able to be part of the community around us. Like, those are almost even more meaningful than being at the events and being even at our own competitions. And so
it changes lives.
Yeah.
It does. It changes lives. It
Yes.
brightens days. Yeah. Isn't that kind of what's the fun part about it?
Yeah.
You show up, and if Cosmo's there or if he's not,
Yeah, that's
everyone's
true.
like, hey, there's something cool's about to happen. Right?
Everyone loves seeing stunts, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. We are thrilled to have the national champion BYU Cheer Squad on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus and distributed by the Deseret News. So no matter what sport you go and cheer for, we're in a strange, fun, awesome place here in 2025. All of them just about are doing phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
that makes it a little different, right? It's like, oh no, I got this. It's this, and this. And the arenas are full. The fans are into it. And the energy is all over the place.
And
What's
luckily
that
we
like?
caught that wave too to become national champions. It's amazing what's happening.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dave and I were checking this school year, by our count, there's only how many national championships on campus?
Let's see, there's
There's cross country, men's and women's, so two right there.
Landscaping.
Landscaping.
Folks,
Yeah, that's true.
They came 2 weeks ago, and this group right here.
Yay!
That's the final four right there.
That's it.
There it is,
It's
the
pretty
real
awesome.
Final Four.
So
You know, if you're saying that our teams have been doing super well, and it really helps the environment. Obviously, BYU fans, they're really good at cheering at all the different events.
Yeah.
And winning definitely has a factor in it. But I know of schools that even when they're winning, their fans are kind of dead. And so it makes our job a lot easier when, like, our job is to get the rock started with cheers, and they get the rest of the arena or the stadium involved with them as well. But yeah, this year's been like none other. This is my 3rd year, and so it's been the coolest thing ever. And I'm really looking forward to the next year's.
Oh yeah, there's a few things going on for
Yeah,
next year.
so you've been three.
Three.
We've all been
We've
through
all been
it.
three.
You've all been three.
We tried out the
Yeah.
same year.
We
Yeah.
all started
All
through
say- and 2 of you are captains.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
2
So
captains in the house.
when you let's see, the arenas are full. It's Southfield Fieldhouse for men's volleyball, women's volleyball,
Yeah.
Marriott Center, and LaVelle Edwards
Edwards.
Stadium. So when you are assigned one, which do you enjoy being at the most?
Wow, I played football, so I love the football games just because I'm so invested, not just in the cheering atmosphere, but I'm invested in the game itself, especially because I know what's going on, I see what's happening, I see plays develop. So I personally just love that one, but it's crazy that there's 65,000 people in that one place,
Yeah.
and like I get to be right there on the sideline. It's like living
All
the
right,
dream.
so that's a vote for football.
There's football.
Kylie?
I'll also have to vote for football.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so fun. There's nothing like it being in the stadium, and you're just so small, but also it's electric. You know, you're clapping,
Sure.
and every single person's clapping with you. Like, it's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Okay, I'm actually super torn because I like watching basketball more,
Okay.
but you cannot compete with just the atmosphere when you're in
Yeah.
LaVelle Edwards Stadium. So
Although you guys get it rocking pretty good in the Marriott
Yes,
Center.
we do.
That's
we,
true.
We call games in both. We call
Yeah.
basketball games and football games.
Yeah.
And there's times when even with a headset on, we can't hear each other in both of those places.
Good.
Wow.
All right, Andrew.
That's
oh
awesome.
my gosh.
Honestly, if I had to, like, it kind of depends because individual games can be way more fun than other games. So, like, during football season, like I had the opportunity to go to the Utah game.
Oh,
such an
yeah.
amazing game to be at. Like, Kansas this year, an amazing game to be at. All that stuff. And so overall, I would pick football. But my favorite game to be at this year, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go to the first and second round of NCAA, like March Madness. And
So
it
fun.
almost impossible to beat that environment and just that feeling of making it past both those rounds.
Yeah, wow.
That's-
My
those
favorite
are
games
tough
this year was
jobs.
basketball, but overall it was football. So I don't know how you count that. but-
How was it when Will Farron's kick split the uprights in
Oh
the Utah game?
my
What was
gosh.
that? What was that moment like for you guys?
That was amazing.
Well, so we
Oh, it sounds like we got a story.
I know what you're saying.
So, I mean, we were not winning at the point until he kicked it and it went in.
Yeah.
So we, as a cheer squad, our coach said, okay, we need to get ready to leave as soon as this game's over so we can get to our vans and head out before anything crazy happens with, respectfully, the crazy Utah fans, right?
Yeah.
And then
I'm glad you said respectfully.
There's a lot of
Because I always
great
say,
ones out
I
there.
always say to Dave, hey, no offense, Bott. And I say, it's like, you can't just say anything you want and say no offense.
That's right. But you can say respectively. You can say whatever.
You never know until you try.
With respect, these people are idiots. You can say that. No,
They're our brothers.
he said
Yeah.
crazy fans, which is, that's okay.
You know, we love
Like,
them.
all the opposing fans are mean to us, not just the Utah fans. Like, some of the stuff that's shouted at us, you wouldn't believe. It's very mean.
Yeah, I would believe it.
You believe
Actually,
you
no.
believe
But as soon as that kick went through, it was unbelievable. It was so cool to see all the Utah fans just go quiet and all the BYU fans erupt in cheers. And then the parade and the rain of water bottles getting thrown on the field started. And from a certain video, you see me celebrating, and then you see a water bottle go and hit our wonderful
that's
coach.
Right. That's right.
Wait.
And
That's right. I
thought
forgot
she
Josh got
fainted.
hit.
They
I
eventually
thought she
caught the kid.
fainted. I look, I said, "Oh wow, yeah, we won," and it was a great win. She fainted from joy, and then I realized someone said no, she got hit and hit a water bottle.
Oh,
That was so
man.
sad.
When so now be honest, all right? This is an honest show.
Let's hear it.
So-
That's what we do on this show. We be honest.
So after the
We're
kick, all right, after the kick, when typically you're cheering to the BYU fans, right?
Yeah,
How many of you were actually cheering to the Utah fans?
Oh, they're right
after
in front
the
of us.
kick.
Yeah, they're right in front of us, and you can't just help but
Yeah.
Make a little
shout
eye
for
contact.
joy and
Yeah.
point at them a little bit.
That's awesome.
Like, you guys tried their best.
And when stuff's right on the field, you're like, yeah, bring it, bring it.
Yeah,
I remember one of my favorite things. I was talking with a bunch of people before the game. I love meeting people,
Yeah.
and there were a few of like the Utah police officers, and they were like, I was talking to them, and a few of them, I'm not going to say names, they lifted up their pant leg and they were wearing BYU socks underneath.
You can't rat them out.
I won't
you
say
were
names right there, but I
is-
looked at them and I was like, we got it
No,
right
that's all-
there.
we have to respect that. So this is a narc-free zone. Like we don't tell on people that support the Cougs
Yeah.
in Utah uniforms. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
when Kalani was up there, he never denied
Never.
that he loved
Yeah.
BYU,
Yeah. Yeah.
even while he was coaching there.
I don't think he wore BYU socks with his Utah coaching uniform.
Probably not. Someone else. Who decides what events that you get to go to, and how big is the cheer and stunt team? And then who decides? Okay, you're over here. You're over here. You're going to football. You got basketball. You got soccer the night before. How's that go down?
Actually, go ahead.
Captain,
Okay, I'll take that.
Take that one.
go for it.
Sorry, I don't want to plug
Kick
you.
me out, you're good.
Okay, we actually have a really big team this year. I think it's the biggest we've ever had. We have a team of 46 people.
46.
So that's our co-ed and our all-girl team. So we have about
10 guys.
10 boys.
10 guys, 10.
10 boys and then the rest girls. And so that's how many people we have on our team, which we need because we actually compete in 2 different divisions and each need around 20 people. So we need a pretty big team as well as extra people in case of injuries and just like alternates just in case. So that's the size of our team. And then we do most of our travel just by seniority. And so whoever's been on the team the longest has the most experience, and just it tends to make it most fair, and people are
And after 3
Yeah,
years, you
that's
can stay calm at Utah
true.
That's fair.
or at Wyoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
This is going to be a good year of travel then for the 4 of you, right?
So and you mentioned the 2 divisions. So you won the national championship in the game day division.
Yes.
And you all participated in that, right? Were you all part of that team?
Actually, just me and
Oh, you two.
me and
Yeah,
Kylie
you
Wood.
guys were
Hey,
in the
we're
co-ed
all getting in
division.
a ring, though.
Yeah, because, hey,
of
it's all one team.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, like Will Farron won the Utah game, but then
Right.
everybody got the win, even though Will
Exactly.
single-handedly won that game. So you all get a ring. You're all part of that. So the co-ed division, you also placed in the top 5. You took 4
Yes.
in the co-ed division as well, which is pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so-
There's over 12 teams.
Yeah. So who are the teams you're competing against in these things this year? Like, who are some of the teams? People
So
know?
the Texas Tech took first, and these are schools that are known to have amazing
Big time programs, yeah.
Texas Tech, NC State, Louisville. Who else?
I swear, Texas Tech and Louisville are part of that weird show my wife and daughter made me watch about
Yeah,
cheerleading.
it is. It really is.
What was that show I watched with them?
It's literally just called Cheer.
Yeah. Man, that was
to watch
intense.
that.
Yeah,
was
that
intense,
one's a little
Yeah.
crazy.
So Texas Tech, Louisville, like these are the kinds of folks. And in the game day
Yes.
division, same teams in the game day division. So
We have a few different ones. So the main competition we had was the University of Michigan.
oh yeah, there you go, Michigan, big time.
Yeah. And we also had the Air Force in our division as well.
Okay.
And then there was one other. I can't remember the last one. Do you remember, Kylie?
No.
Yeah.
Another big time.
Yeah, another big school.
Michigan,
but
they're like
unfortunately-
10-time back-to-back champs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michigan's 10 times
It's
back
always
to.
good to beat
Well,
Michigan.
think about it.
Exactly.
They play in the big house, 110,000 fans.
Blaine
I'm
beat
telling you,
Michigan for the
I
national
beat
championship
Michigan
game.
once, and guess what? In a national championship game. And you guys beat.
Hey, we got something
you know
in
what?
common
we got,
then.
We
Let's
got
go.
5 people in this room that beat Michigan for a national championship.
There we
right
go.
now. So yeah, we beat them in 1984 in the national championship game in the Holiday Bowl to claim
We're
the
not
national
going to ask you
championship.
if you were alive in 19.
No, we know you were alive. We know you weren't alive because I don't have any
move on.
kids alive. My kids are older than you. But that's pretty cool to beat Michigan and in that. And so these are big time programs you're competing with.
Yeah.
You come out of that into 2 different divisions with a first place national championship and a 4th place, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
And people, and when it comes to cheer, people always think you go to a cheer competition, you win first place, but that's just frankly not the case because there's
In-
lots of teams that don't
college.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in college.
I think if anybody could ask the 4 of you a question tonight, and we get to because you're here, number 1 on the list has to be, what is it like? What's up with Cosmo? The guy does anything. There's fire. It's like, where do those ideas come from? And
is he out of his mind?
As you work with
Good question.
with this Cosmo character, what's that like?
Well,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, very unpredictable. We are so lucky to get to work closely with him and to get to know him a little bit better. But the main thing we know is he just lives up on Y Mountain and comes down every once in a while
With
for the
some dance
games.
moves.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
So when there's a plan of like, okay, Cosmo's going to come down in a ring of fire and do this, this, and this, and we see it during the, say, third quarter timeout. So during the week, how much practice is everybody doing so that one, Cosmo lives, and two, doesn't take out anybody along the way? And then it's one-upping every game. It's like, what's he going to do today? So how much work are we talking about before game day gets here for your group?
So, Cosmo, yeah, I'm not going to lie. He doesn't practice a lot.
He's just as gifted.
He's
gifted.
Yeah.
No, he is.
I mean, he's a cat. He's always going to land on his feet.
nine lives. I don't know which one he's on right now, but he got 9 lives and always lands on his feet.
Yes.
And we're like she said, we get to be around Cosmo, and that's like one of the most incredible athletes you'll ever meet for all the things he can do. And he just blows everyone's mind all the time.
Yes.
And they're always having new stunts to do.
How about for you guys though? There's you don't just show up and go. There's practice involved.
Yeah.
This is
So
perfect.
how much time do you guys spend in prep? Because everybody sees you're very visible in these big events, but there's a lot more than that involved in what you're doing. How many hours a week do you think during the school year?
Hours a week?
It varies week to week, honestly, depending on the events and things we have. But we show up every day, 6:30, and we practice until 9, sometimes 9:30, 10, depending on the
then we
day.
have weights after that.
And we have weightlifting, and everybody shows up every time. Cosmo, the dancer, the team, like every single piece has to be there every single time, otherwise we can't run their
The
routines.
drummers.
The drummers, yeah, the drummers were
everybody's
so
there.
awesome.
So you're talking about 3.5 to 4 hours plus your workout
Yeah.
every day during the week, and then the events. Not on days when you have an event, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We do get Thursdays and Sundays off. So luckily.
But now,
Yeah.
so why in the world do you do this, and how do you do it? Because you're also expected to take a full load,
Yeah.
and go to school, and go visit Primary Children's Hospital, and go meet people coming back from the airport, and do all of these things.
And most of us have jobs too.
Yeah, and because you're on partial, and you're on partial scholarships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why in the world and how?
Well, first of all, we're very flattered. You're making us seem so awesome. So thank you for everything
That's
that you're
what we
saying.
do. That is what we do.
Well, we're feeling very good about ourselves. But for me, at least, and I'm sure most of them, well, especially Kylie. I don't know about the boys, honestly, because they're usually the boys are a little newer to cheer. But this has definitely been a dream of ours since we were as
Little girls.
Yeah, since
Yeah.
we were little girls. And actually, we tumbled together when we were 10 years old. And this really has just always been the goal. Being a BYU cheerleader really is just such a dream. And like I said, it's not just about the sports. It's not just about the scholarship or getting to go cool places. It really is about the team. Our team becomes a family, and the experiences that we get to have with each other are worth all of those hours, and honestly more. I would
That's
do it
awesome.
all again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
good.
National champion BYU Cheer Squads on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com all around the world tonight. We're going to get some really good questions here. But before we do, let me ask you this. Tryouts for new team members are Thursday, right? So
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Where can folks get information on that?
Just
BYU Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah,
BYU Cheer and Stunt
BYU Cheer and
Instagram.
Stunt.
Or
They're
website.
verified. We just got verified.
And so you have a check.
You got the check now.
So it's a squad of 40 when you talk about both squads,
Yes.
right? And how many people are going to try out for this thing?
It's usually over 100, but it just depends on the year.
So
I think this year is going to be
especially
quite a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jocelyn knows this. If I don't mention that the Cougarettes are national champs too,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
then my wife, who was the captain of Cougarettes, and my daughter, who was a Cougarette, and Stacy Johnson, or it's not Johnson anymore, but
Yeah.
but Stacy, who's the coach
Yeah.
is the coach of Cougarettes. I would be in big trouble.
Yeah, totally.
Because we counted for.
Right, but they didn't do the
They
national
didn't
champs
compete.
this
They
year.
didn't compete
Not
this
this
year.
year.
These are the four
But they
new
were
national
rated.
champs.
There you
The
go.
last time they competed, they
always
were
good.
national champs.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
incredible.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're
If
incredible.
I don't mention Cougs, I'm gonna be in big
Yes.
trouble.
No, I'm
So
glad you do.
I had to mention Cougs.
Every single
so-
year we
Sorry,
compete,
Stacey.
we always go and watch them compete while we're in Daytona, and some of them will come watch us sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah, you guys have a great camaraderie because that game day experience is. We used to have a plaque in our house, and it said, if a sport doesn't have cheerleaders, it's just a game.
Oh,
It's not an event.
I might write that down.
Until
That's a
the
good
cheerleaders
quote.
show up. If you're playing a sport and there's no cheerleaders, it's just a game.
Yeah.
If the cheer squad shows up in the Cougs, it's an event.
So true.
And then it's an experience.
Let's get serious here for a minute. 5 questions for the national champs.
All right.
Are presented by Strategy Square. Learn how it can help your business grow with Chantal, a BYU alum at strategysquare.co. We're going to ask you each 5 questions.
Yeah, and we'll
These
just
are
go. What we'll do is we'll
rapid
start with Ammon, we'll go Ammon, Kylie, and then Andrew, and then we'll go in reverse order on the next question.
Okay.
Perfect.
Although that means that these guys are kind of in the middle every time. That's okay though. It'll be it'll work.
What's
Thanks,
a little
boys.
fire drill in the middle?
It'll be fine. It'll be
And
fine.
all of us will be judging you on your answers.
Okay, well, we've got this. We're good at being
questions are we
judged.
expecting?
No, these are easy. This just helps people get to know your personality.
Oh, okay.
So,
Personality. I can do
like,
that.
Don't think too deeply into this. It's like, Carlos is coming on later. He's already answered these questions before.
Okay.
And when he left, we
We're
were like,
next to a veteran over
wow,
here. There we
talk
go.
about a crazy guy. No, we didn't. So,
So be careful because you are judging, like you said.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna start with this one. Favorite sports movie?
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Oh,
Space Jam.
the original.
The original
Kylie?
Space Jam with MJ and that. Kylie?
Remember the Titans?
Titans. That's a good one.
That's our most popular one, by the way.
I like
Kylie.
that one.
So remember the Titans. Kylie?
I like Rudy.
Rudy, classic.
Good.
I still cry every time I see Rudy.
I actually just
That
watched.
music when he's out by the Blake and he's just not making it, and then when he finally runs out of that tunnel, and the equipment manager like claps, I'm just like, I'm gonna break down. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just watched the movie Greater.
I haven't seen it.
It's actually a really good one. It's on Netflix right now, and it's about, I can't remember his name, but he's known as like one of the best college walk-ons ever.
Great.
To Arkansas. Yeah.
Is that your favorite now?
It was really good, yeah.
Okay, great.
It inspired me a ton.
Okay, did everybody see that? We're gonna ask you a question later, and then we're gonna mark down because everybody is always interested in the favorite movies that they can watch, and then we're gonna ask a question later that everybody's always really interested in.
Is that,
too.
we hadn't heard Greater.
No,
so
Greater's a
listen
good
to
one.
it.
Check that one out.
Okay,
Boys in
number
the
2.
Boat.
This is the question.
Boys in the Boat is good.
Boys in the Boat's good.
Oh, Boys in the Boat is good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Like when
And
I
a
think
good
of like a
book.
funny one,
So
Space
many
Jam.
good sports
When I
movies,
think
right?
of like a really powerful with a great meaning and motivation,
Yes.
Boys in the Boat.
Boys in the Boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Or-
but you already committed with Space Jam.
Ever since I was a youngin', Space Jam.
We're sticking with Space Jam.
What's the one where the dog kicks field goals, Air Bud? or
Air
something?
Bud.
I don't
Hey,
watch
that's
dog movies.
inspiration.
Space Jam's right
That
there.
is inspirational.
Yes.
Don't tell me it's not.
I don't watch dog or horse movies. Like Secretary.
Okay.
We're gonna start down here at the end of
Yeah.
this time. So, and this is the other one everybody's always interested in. So if you come up with a
no.
unique one, then we all look it up. So,
Okay.
favorite singer or band?
Favorite singer or band? Right now, there's a band called the 502s.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
502s.
They just have a really great message. They're kind of like upbeat music, and I like it.
502s. Everybody look up 502s tonight.
502s.
So, Kylie,
Mine's not unique, but I love Luke Combs. He's my fave.
you're a country girl. That's Luke Combs. Yeah, he's great. So, Kylie,
Taylor Swift.
Taylor. And somebody had that the other day, and they looked at us like, and we're like, why were you embarrassed about that? Because she's crazy talented.
Yeah, she is.
She is
And one of the great songwriters of all time. Yeah, so we're completely good with Taylor
She's
Swift.
so popular.
I really like an R&B artist. His name's Jay Warren. He's actually out here in Utah.
Jay Warren?
Jay Warren. He makes music with James the Mormon as well.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also one of my favorite little
Okay, so you look up,
artists.
we know Luke Combs, we know like Taylor Swift. The 502s and Jay Warren. Look them up, you guys, and see what you like here.
There you go.
So you have to tell me if I'm completely lame. So my kids are going, my wife's out of town, and they're going to Post Malone tomorrow night. at Rice Eccles.
Gosh, that's
And they said,
awesome.
we'll get you a ticket,
That's
Dad.
sick.
We'll get you a ticket. I said, I'm in. And then I found out that I have an Uber picking me up at 6:10 on Wednesday morning to take me to the airport. I said, guys, I just can't hang until 1:30 in the morning. And then, so I bailed. Am I completely lame?
Yes.
Because the kid said, Dad.
Is this country Post Malone?
Yeah,
Is he?
he's doing both. He's
You
doing
got
both.
to. You got to.
He's doing both.
He's doing both.
My kids basically said, Dad, you're one pathetic loser right now.
He's not gonna
Honestly,
make
I can't judge. My dad, he took my siblings to a concert, but he just went to drive them. But he read his own book in the back corner. He just had a
Oh, no, if I
flashlight.
go,
he
I'm
read
going.
a book, and he didn't want to go to the.
I love
Oh my
Post
gosh,
Malone.
funny.
I
No,
would
I'm
love
dead
to.
serious.
Ooh, I love
Yeah, no,
it.
he
So
was.
I backed out.
He was there to drive them, but he
Okay.
was
All
just
right,
there
is
for.
the ticket
Up for grabs?
No. I told him not to buy it. He was online saying, Dad, I'm buying these right now. Are you in? I was like, no.
Gotcha.
All right, here's number 3. Here we go.
Favorite breakfast cereal?
Oh, easy.
Life cereal.
Not
Cinnamon.
even Cinnamon Life. That's good.
Cinnamon
Life.
Life. So, Kylie?
Reese's Puffs.
Oh, beautiful. We've had that one before. Kylie?
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's another good
You guys are welcome
No
back on this show.
Yeah, these are all great choices.
Those are all good
Okay.
answers.
Favorite thing about this team that you're on?
About this team?
Yeah.
Besides that we're national champs, which was pretty cool. I would probably just say like the community behind it. Like the guys, like the people on the team really just become your best friends. And they just support you when like times are hard, like they help you out with school and just the support behind like each individual person.
There you go. Kylie?
Mine's a little similar, but I would just say everyone is service oriented. And so I just love that I always have people backing me up, including my coach and just everyone. So
Very cool. Service oriented, yeah.
I love how much fun we have. Like
Yeah.
we get on the bus and it's just like laughter the whole entire way wherever we're going. Like every single day, Jocelyn's like, guys, listen, like we have so much stuff to do. We all just want to sit and talk and laugh.
That
And
is true.
It's just so fun to go and it's like we're all best friends. It's so fun.
Cool.
There you go.
This is one of, and I've been told by our coach, this is one of the most talented teams that has come through BYU's cheer and stunt.
Yeah.
And with that comes a lot of hard work. And we've made a great culture on the cheer team of work ethic and looking up, building up, supporting one another. And so that is probably one of my favorite because I come from a background of really intense sports. And so being able to get on a team that is also driven by the motivation of not just competing, but developing and getting better at skills. And like, as I said, bonding as a team is probably one of my favorite things about this team.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, and this is our last one, but we're going to start in the middle.
Hey.
Which Kylie goes first?
I will.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, your favorite BYU moment.
Ooh.
Then we're going Kylie, Andrew.
All right.
My favorite moment was probably my first year on the team when I made the BYU cheer team. That was like one of the most special things to me, and it means the world that I can even be at BYU and come to the school, and like this has just been a dream for me, and I've worked for it for so long, so that means the world to me. And being with Jocelyn and being with my teammates, like this is an experience that I would not trade for the world, and I wish everybody could have it.
Awesome.
Okay, Kylie.
I would say probably when we won the Alamo Bowl this year. We got to be there for that, and just the entire experience around the whole thing, like just being there and being able to do all of like the pep rallies leading up to it and being able to be on the river and just like all of that. It was seriously amazing. And just besides like that incredible experience that we got to be a part of, it was one of my favorite trips I was able to go on just with all of my best friends and teammates.
And you were ahead the whole game.
Yeah.
It
was just like,
It
was just fun. We just
That's
kept
fun.
laughing. Like we literally just would look at each other and be like, we would just laugh. We're like, okay, there's another. Okay, there's another touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay, there's
what we were
another
doing
Way to go,
touchdown.
Slides, so
We're going,
much.
what's going on right now?
No,
This is a
literally,
beatdown.
it was
Yeah.
crazy. So.
Colorado was like, do we ever get to play our fight song?
No, totally.
Because we were saying, what is going on? And then Shador was going, I don't know what's going on. What's
Yeah,
going on? So,
it's so true.
yeah.
So,
So, Andrew, how about you? Favorite moment?
Honestly, there's been a lot of good moments here at BYU. Like I've had a lot of good experiences. One of my personal favorites just being on the team was my very first year on the team when we played Baylor. And it was just the triple overtime. Like the crowd was just so
true.
loud. They made wasn't it like the crowd was so loud, like they caused 3 offsides in overtime or something like that. I can't remember the numbers, but that was just an amazing experience to be a part of.
That's true.
So fun. So, all right.
So are we talking sports or just like in general?
Any moment. It could be anyone. We'll let you go wherever you want with this one.
Okay, so I have to say that some of my favorite moments, it's all like collectively one thing, is the fact that at BYU we get to pray before events, but also the fact that we have religion as part of our curriculum, like learning gospel principles. And that makes it so that maybe I didn't study my scriptures that day, or maybe I haven't been good at it, but now I have to look more into the gospel because of homework assignments. And I'm in class learning with the Holy Ghost there, and people are sharing experiences. And that just makes it so that I have an opportunity to stay closer to our Heavenly Father, to be reminded that we need to like repent. I need to make sure I'm on the straight and narrow. I'm keeping the commandments. I'm being a good person, being a good disciple of Jesus Christ. And that's just probably one of my biggest takeaways from why BYU is such a great university and a great school, because it aligns with what means the most to me, and that is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and helps me know that there's more to life than just school or just sports.
Right.
And yeah, that's definitely
That's
one of
awesome.
my favorite things.
Yeah, that's well said, Ammon.
Hey, we
well said.
salute you and your whole team. And on August 30th, where are you going to be in the stadium when the team comes out? Are you right down there in front of the Rock?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or are you somewhere else?
No, we dap up all the
Where
boys
everyone
as they
is.
come through.
Nice.
And that's the cool thing. We get to meet a lot of the football players, see them around. So there's a cool personal connection as they come through, and we're homies with them.
That's awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
And and good luck defending the national championship.
Appreciate it.
We have,
Right.
we have an
Title
incredible season next season with these
Yes, we
teams
do.
just loaded in all sports, and then you can go defend that championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We're going for 2 this next year,
It's a
both
repeat.
divisions.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Both
Oh, it's a
divisions.
repeat and a new peat for the
Exactly.
So both divisions. So
Okay. Thanks for coming
Thank you
over.
guys
Thank
so
you
much.
very much
Go
for having
Cougs.
us.
So
Have a
good to
great
have you
summer.
on.
Yeah,
Go
sorry for
Cougs.
stealing your spot over here.
We'll see
So
you in a
no,
few
it's
months.
all good.
He'll
And
be
this is
back.
so good.
Don't
Like we
worry
just
about it.
bring in, and then we say, "Okay, guys, have fun," and you guys just
Yeah.
go. So Ammon, Kylie, and Andrew, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
We
Appreciate
are
you
so
guys.
grateful that we got to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You also have a good one.
Go
Next time, we'll
Cougs.
see you next time when we're on here.
Tremendous energy in here from the cheer squad, the national champs, and what that was fun. Blaine's going to move back to his spot, and I'll move this way, and this is just how we do it. As we say, give a shout out to David from McGrath, Alberta, in the house on the stream. So we're in Canada, we're in Tokyo, we're in El Salvador, we're all over the place on the Wise Guys here on this Monday night, and it was so good to have the national champions in the house. When the landscaping champions were here, that was fun too.
Yes.
There's a buzz that comes with with beating everybody else, and it's a natural spot for them to come on the Wise Guys and talk about it. So awesome. Let's do our Cougar Board question of the week just before we bring on the head man of the BYU Dunk Team. That's how we're rolling.
We're
tonight.
talking about game day all day today.
And we'll get DJ over here. We'll get our mics all straightened out. The Cougar Board question of the week. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans. Thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Seth J250, one of their insider subscribers. The revenue sports at BYU are all in a great place right now. Certainly seem to be.
Yes.
What will need to happen in the future to sustain that? I'll tell you what needs to just 4 more of the students we just had in here.
Yeah.
And that's the best of the best. And as BYU rolls out the best of the best, they're just going to continue to succeed. And support comes into support. People like this that we just had are student athletes, and these are athletes and they're students, so they're student athletes as well. But winning is it, right? You win and it just keeps going.
Yeah, and people get excited about it, and he asked what it's going to take, and BYU understands what it takes, from financial resources to having great coaches to being able to recruit the very, very best, right? Which they've done. Even in our cheer squad and our Cougarettes, these are the top in the world. Best athletes, great kids. It really is amazing. So they got to continue to be able to recruit and keep up from a revenue perspective and keep up from a funding and support perspective. Like, we keep being hopeful, and I know coaches are hopeful, that this whole NIL thing starts to get some fences put around it, and there's some guidelines. Because right now it feels a little bit like an arms race where people are just racing to the top. And although it feels like it, BYU, on a lot of these athletes they're not the highest bidder. And I love that Keanu Tanavasa came on and said, no, I didn't come to BYU because they paid me more money. It's very similar.
Yeah.
I came down because this is a culture I wanted to be part of and where I wanted to be. And I can tell you that across the board, BYU's just not going out and outbidding people for these great players. They're selling a combination of, we'll be competitive, we're not going to be the highest, but we're also going to provide a culture for you to grow and be the very best at what you're doing. And we're going to provide you with opportunities to succeed. And we're going to give you world-class coaching. And when you partake in this culture, you're going to love it. And that's how they're getting it. So it's all of those things. They have to be competitive from a support and an NIL perspective. But they're not going to go out and try to win an arms race on that. And we just hope it all gets kind of reeled in a little bit, and that there's some guidelines around it so this doesn't get crazy.
Yeah, and just to echo your point, it's working for BYU.
Yeah.
Look where they're going with their athletic programs. Look at this basketball team they've amassed. You amassed that with NIL. Yeah. And so people ask, hey, how's it going over there? Well, the football team just went 11-2, and basketball just has the number 2 recruiting class in the country. It's going pretty good over here.
But here's the thing, and this is what I hope people understand. BYU has resources, and when we bring Carlos on, he understands that as well as anybody, because he's kind of close up seat on all of that. Mm-hmm. But that's not the thing that is the linchpin. Because do you think we're outbidding North Carolina and Duke and Kentucky for these kids? Like, when I talked to Yegor Demon in depth about why he came here, it wasn't because BYU is the highest bidder. Right. And it wasn't for AJ. And
now,
it wasn't
BYU is
for Kaba.
a competitive bidder, but they don't have to be the highest.
That's what I'm saying. You have to have the resources to be competitive. But I think BYU, especially up north, has the reputation. They'll just pay more than anybody else will pay. That is not the case.
Yeah, that's just easy to say.
BYU is doing an unbelievable job of, in addition to saying we have resources to pay you a fair amount, we also will provide you with the best culture for you to advance, to get better, and to win of anybody we're competing with. And when you have both of those things, you have the number 2 recruiting class in the country. You have to have both.
Las Vegas is on the stream. It's always good to have our friends from Vegas with us. Naperville, Illinois. The Cubs are in first place.
See, that Dave's
Here,
happy.
wrapping up the month of April. That's big.
That's a big reason right there.
Usually we're out of it by now, but we're in first, so we got that going on. Our next guest is the man behind one of the most enjoyable halftime acts at the Marriott Center, the BYU Dunk Team. It's a frequent occurrence when the squad's on the floor for fans, including us, to gasp and say, I can't believe they just did that. Our pleasure to welcome Dave Eberhard to the Wise Guys, the man behind the dunks. And, we just had the national champion cheerleaders in here, and they work closely with everything that you guys have going on. So there's a vibe in the building tonight, and we're grateful to have you add to it.
I would love to be a part of it. This is amazing, and being here at BYU with all these people is phenomenal.
Yeah, we talked about game day environment with the cheer squad, and they just talked about, hey, we go on the road and we're at all these different places, and there's nothing like the game day environment at BYU, and you guys are a part of that, so you witness it all the time because you're very much involved in helping create that game day environment. What is it that makes BYU so special in their approach to it and how it just comes off, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball in the Smith Fieldhouse? It just seems like it's best in class in everything they do.
I would agree with that 100%. Everywhere I go, I think they're chasing our coattails because the honor code. I know that may shock you, but if you want to play professional, you want a coach that doesn't drink because all they do is eat, drink, and sleep football. Yeah. Or eat, drink, and sleep basketball. They're not worried about, they're either worried about their family and basketball or football. And we're focused on life, and being the best that we can be and nothing else.
Now, there's a feeling in the Marriott Center when the teams leave the floor and the dunk team starts to come out. Now, the team's not out yet, but the pads and the jumps and the trampoline things are coming together. And everyone's going, okay, sweet, the dunk team's on tonight. And then you guys come out. What's that feel like for your crew?
Well, I remember when I was a kid doing it, I loved it. Yeah. And I get giddy, and I still get giddy today watching them perform. And I think the crowd, they feed off the crowd, even the guys that sometimes they bring in family or friends on the front row and they're like, hey, we're going to go get food. And they're like, no, I want to stay here and watch them.
Yeah.
So you start to get up and go, hey, you know what? Halftime I'm going to go run and get something. You start to see the pads come out and the trampolines and all that. And you go, oh, you know what? I might not go get something this halftime, right?
I don't want to miss that.
Yeah. So who came up with this idea of having a BYU Dunk Team? And was it hard to convince BYU that they should kind of take this in and do this?
Yeah, I came here in 2007, and at the time, Cosmo was just kind of a part of the cheer squad, mm-hmm. and I think they were really busy at trying to accomplish being the best cheer squad, and mascots weren't much of a thing. I had come from Miami, and they had a phenomenal dunk team down there, and I'd been a part of a dunk team before, and I had my own dunk team, and I was like, we should build a dunk team. And so
this was your mastermind.
yeah, so I secretly bought a trampoline and found some mats that the gymnasts weren't using. And we just wanted to see if these guys could hit the tramp, and we got better and better every year. And eventually where they were like, hey, you guys want to do some halftimes? And I was like, absolutely. And I think the recruiting for the dunk team actually helped, get Cosmo a rep. Because I started finding guys that could trick and flip and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and then it just they kind of feed and help each other.
When you're out there watching them, and the dunks get higher and more complicated, right? Because it has to for the show. Do you see a dunk where you go, oh, hey, that was a little higher than we had approved? That one went 50 feet up. How am I going to explain that one?
Yeah. We definitely have guys that want to push the envelope. There's been a couple of guys that have tried a double front dunk, and we've had probably 2 or 3 guys that now have successfully done that dunk.
So a double front flip dunk. How do you even keep track of where the rim is at that point?
Yeah. It's tough. So we did it in practice. I put some pads on the backboard. I pad up the rim. I shift it to the side, make sure that they're not going straight at the rim, so that if they do hit anything, they're hitting pad, and then I also have this pole that I spot in the air, so that if they're over rotating or under rotating or coming too close, I can kind of push them while they're in the air. And so safety equipment and that kind of stuff is a big deal. But these kids, they want to push. They want to do everything that I've ever done and triple it. So it's fun to watch them. And some of these kids are that good of athletes.
So you do how many minutes is typical, like a basketball halftime? How many minutes would that be? Do you guys have like 5, 6?
Yeah, 5 to 6 minutes tops.
So say you have 6 minutes at halftime. How much preparation goes into being able to perform flawlessly a 6-minute halftime show?
A lot. We perform, because we perform for little kids at elementary schools at least twice a week. And then above and beyond that, we're in practices 5 days a week and that kind of stuff. And so they're training 2 hours a day, and then plus shows and stuff like that. So they're constantly refining, being in front of people and dunking and doing tricks and flips and staying in the right shape. So it's a long time. And
David's on the live stream signing in from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So it's good to have.
Have we had Malaysia in the house before?
We got him tonight. That's awesome.
Yeah. BYU Cougarettes 1984 forever. That's like that handle. Right. It says, does the dunk team have scholarships?
Yeah, actually we do now. We used to not, but we do now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
It's grown so big. We do so many appearances in so many dunk shows for corporate partners and for businesses and schools and stuff like that. They're paying us, and so BYU has said, hey, let's give this back to the kids.
Yeah, let's have sponsorships and do that. I think that's great. Revenue sharing is alive. The athletes are going to have
Across the
revenue
board.
sharing now.
Yeah.
And our dunk team are absolutely athletes. Just like our cheer squad. That cheer squad, they're athletes. Cougarettes are athletes.
Oh yeah.
And clearly the dunk team are athletes, which is they deserve to have that.
Dave Eberhard of the BYU Dunk Team on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. Who comes up? Is it your job to come up with new dunks?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So do you just sit there and think about it all day long, like, what if this happened?
Well, definitely not just me. Each kid comes with an individual set of skills, and some of them are really good flippers, some of them are really good twisters, some of them have phenomenal air sense, and some of my guys even go on to like Cirque du Soleil, or they're like in the movies and doing stuntman work and all kinds of stuff. And these kids are like, hey, what if I did? And I'm like, okay. And I'm really good at like what the dimensions are, like what the why did I forget the word? The word for
like the fence to put like the guidelines, like, hey, you shouldn't do
like, hey, you're gonna need to bring your chest here to move here and
in space you've got to do that, or that's not gonna work, right?
Yeah, and if
you see it spatially.
Yes. Yeah. So they're very creative, and I definitely am a firm believer that a coach should allow the kids to be as creative and push themselves as much as they want, and then my job is to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. John says, are those dunk team guys mostly coming from being in gymnastics?
Nowadays, all these kids are watching YouTube, and they're like, monkey see, monkey do. And so I'm like, a lot of these kids have never hit a mini tramp like this before. And so they're like, so we put them in front on these trampolines, and then we give them pits to go flip and trick in, and that kind of stuff. And so there's a pretty quick learning curve. The hardest thing is actually the timing between individuals, because if you jump too high, I'm going to be closer to you or farther from you or that kind of stuff. And depending on where and the timing you throw the ball and how you throw the ball, and if you put a curve on it or hits the floor wrong, or it can throw anything off. So the timing is
the synchronicity is amazing.
Because that is almost more impressive. Like, it's not just a single individual running down, going off a mini tramp and doing a dunk, which sometimes is cool. But this is literally a choreographed piece of art that goes together with exact timing.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that takes a lot of practice. How long does it take to put, you talked about multiple hours per day and then shows per week, to put a specific routine together? Like, how much preparation is that? Is that a period of weeks, months to put something together?
Yeah, because we try to also put it together to music and that kind of stuff so that it hits together and that kind of stuff. And that's another great thing that BYU we have a guy, Troy Sales, that's phenomenal with his effects and that kind of stuff. And he works with Cheer and the Cougarettes as well. And but yeah, and then getting creative with the themes and just having fun with it. I think it's all just...
Well, here's the big question. How do kids get on the dunk team?
We have tryouts twice a year, once in April and once in September. You have to be a BYU student in order to be on the dunk team, as well as Cosmo, if you wanted to be Cosmo. And you've got to try out. And most of the time I get these kids and I train them for at least a year to 2 years before they're in a show.
Oh, wow. So they've got a time to put in. Jess Cromwell says, hey, it's great to see a couple young ladies out there. Speak about them, please. So, because you have men and women on this team.
And the women, we've had some women that have moved on again, like professionally. Like it's great to watch them. They're phenomenal athletes. They love it just as much. And especially when we go to these kids shows, watching the little girls, like, you're so awesome. Like, speaking to the girls that are on the team, you're so awesome. I can't believe you can do all the things the guys can do.
Oh,
and they eat it up. And I love it too, because I'm watching like the Cougarettes and the Cheer Squad. Like, these girls are phenomenal athletes. Like, you can't pull people out of the crowd and say, hey, just do what they did. Even like a football player, it's like, no, what the Cougarettes and the Cheer guys are doing and the Cheer Squad, and they're phenomenal. Like, it's definitely a skill.
How about this handle, Ocean Currents, on the stream from Jacksonville, Florida?
Nice.
That just sounds nice, doesn't it?
It sounds calm.
Ocean Currents.
It sounds calm to me.
Well, how excited are you to have AJ DeBonsa and that excitement coming for basketball? Because you know that now there's going to be dunks at halftime, and then there's dunks during the game. It's all about dunks coming up. But I would think the dunk team will welcome him as with open arms.
With open dunks. Absolutely.
What does that mean for what you got going on?
It means more people in the stands. It means more excitement around basketball. It means more excitement around dunking and flipping and tricking. And for me, it brings more people's eyes on BYU. And it gives us the opportunity to show the world how awesome BYU is. And that hopefully that, because I actually have schools calling us and saying, hey, how can we replicate what you're doing at BYU?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm open and free with it. Like, I hope people know I'm not trying to like keep everything quiet. If you want help creating a dunk team, or, changing your mascot, or you want to know how to run tryouts or whatever, I'm happy to share with what I have. And then obviously you take what you do in your area. But
how do you balance pushing the envelope to being fresh, new, and wow for each time that your dunk team comes out, with keeping them alive? And you can't destroy the backboard, right? Because the teams are going to come out and play in the second half. Oh. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I get my facilities guys yelling at me, he hung on the rim. And I'm like, no, he didn't touch it. He didn't touch it. So, yeah, that is a struggle that I'm constantly in, and that's one of the big battles that I mess with Cosmo as well. Is I speak with legal teams and OSHA and risk management and our lawyers here on campus and off campus, and yeah, it's a lot of red tape
with Cosmo, and we were talking to the cheerleaders about it, and you have a better view of this from behind the scenes. Do you come up with the crazy stuff that he's doing each week? Then, like, seems like he's just got to top it every week. Is that you, or is that Cosmo or the Cosmos that are they coming and saying, "Hey, Dave, like, I got this idea. Let's do tables and I'll do push-ups or how about I jump over through a fire ring over a golf cart?" Like, Who's coming up with this craziness for Cosmo? Are these your ideas, or is it the Cosmos?
It's definitely Cosmo is a freak athlete. If you saw him, you'd be like, "What team are you on?" You would know this kid can do whatever he wants. And but again, like I hold a team of people that all have individual talents, and we train each other, we teach each other, and then it's my job to say, okay, what's something really cool that we can do that will showcase our ability or his ability.
Yeah, if Blaine and I were on that committee, whenever the word fire would be brought up, we'd just say yes. Let's do that.
We like fire.
And then what was the rest of it?
I want you guys on my committee.
Fire, absolutely.
Yes.
We're definitely on the fire committee.
Let's blow that up.
Yes. Dave Eberhard of the BYU Dunk Team on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Carlos Iglesias coming up here in just a moment. Before we get to 5 questions for you tonight, and you mentioned a moment ago that the Dunk Team can be rented out for parties and activities. How do people do that?
Cosmo at byu.edu.
Okay.
Send us an email.
Cosmo at BYU.edu. Okay, we'll get that in the chat.
You know what? Can I ask you like an inside baseball question with Cosmo?
Okay.
Okay, so the Cosmo we grew up with, right? There's no way he could do that because you couldn't see in the big, giant. Remember, Cougars used to be bigger.
Yeah. You had to redesign the head, right?
Yeah.
The head had to be completely
So now
redesigned.
with the redesign, what's the vision like in there? Like, how much can you do before you say, hey, look, you actually can't do that because other jumpers are flying around?
Yep. Great question. If you took a pair, this is because we actually use this sometimes. If you took a pair of safety goggles and drilled a 3/8 inch hole through the middle of it with safety glasses on and blacked everything out but left the hole, that's about what you can see.
Oh, no. How in the world can you do anything?
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had some type of projection system in there or something.
Yeah.
Wow. So
that's nuts.
Hey, Lisa Arnold asks a good question here. She says, for those of us who aren't able to attend a BYU game, is there any video of the Dunk Team that they could go watch or go find someplace?
YouTube. We have our own channels, just BYU Dunk Team.
Jack just put up the link on the
there you go.
stream right there.
Yeah, Perfect. BYU Dunk Team. That's a great question, Lisa. How can we see these guys if we're not at games? So,
all right, let's find out more from the mastermind of the BYU Dunk Team with 5 questions presented by StrategySquare.co. Did you hear did you hear any of the 5 questions for the Cheer Squad?
Yeah. I didn't.
Okay, good.
Okay,
so
good.
It's all new.
We're starting with Chris. Hey, and by the way, Dave, Paul says, Dave, Blaine and the rest of us missed you on the cruise. Hope you can make it in 2027.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No,
Let's find it sometime other than baseball season.
We're going to do it in the summer in 2027, Dave. So they've moved it. So we had to leave Dave and Shep volunteered to stay behind because they do all the baseball.
No, we didn't volunteer anything.
There are baseball guys, right? It's in the middle of baseball.
We were assigned to be back
Somebody
here.
had to stay home and do baseball. Yeah. I'm no good at baseball. Spencer and Jerem were no good at baseball. Kristen's no good at baseball.
Well, and Kevin Young and those guys couldn't go either. So later in the summer is just better.
So next time it's in summer. It's summer 2027. So I expect
the Dunk Team should be on that.
Yeah, Dunk Team should be on that.
I agree.
Yeah. So okay, now we'll do 5 questions. That was a nice comment, Paul. And you're right.
Paul.
We did miss Dave. So 5 questions for Dave. Here we go. Your favorite sports movie?
Oh, wow. Field of Dreams, maybe?
Perfect.
Nice. I love If You Build It, They Will Come.
Oh, I love that.
I love the part when he says, Dad, you want to have a catch? It just breaks my heart.
Oh, yeah.
You have a voice for this stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You do. Yeah. Okay, your favorite.
That Dunk Team doesn't work out. You should.
Yeah, you should do this. Favorite singer or band?
Well, it changes on the day.
What is it today?
Jelly Roll, maybe?
Jelly Roll is with the.
Going to watch them tomorrow.
Is that we listen to that with the kids coming over tonight?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
All right.
I'm just a long hand. Do you know that one? Son of a sinner. It's one of my. He's so good. I was invited to go with my kids. I have to be on an early flight on Wednesday morning. I turned them down, which is completely lame.
Yeah.
My wife was originally going to go, and she's now in California today on work business. But
hey, sometimes just schedules.
So Jelly Roll is opening for Post Malone.
yeah.
That's a ridiculous concert.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll even go to Rice Eccles for that, but not tomorrow night.
Right.
Dang it. So I had a great time. You're lucky. So, yeah, Jelly Roll's great. Favorite breakfast cereal?
Oof, I've got hundreds. And can I give you guys my cardinal sin?
Yeah. What is it?
I eat my cereal with water.
With water.
I've never even heard that.
The only
Is that
time that
even
would work
allowed?
is they used to have a strawberry.
Some religions won't even allow
Captain
it.
Crunch that when you put water on it would turn into strawberry milk.
Right.
But I just not. It's just that's.
So let me get this straight. So you'll open up a box of Fruit Loops, which are don't shake no, just go with me here.
Okay.
And then you just put them under the faucet and you put water on them.
No, it's got to be chilled water, and it's usually filtered. Like I
Why?
filter my.
What's the
What happens?
If you say, "Well, I'm
What do you
allergic
have
to
against
dairy," I'm
cows?
going to be okay with that. Any other reason, I'm not going to be okay with it.
I'm not allergic. To
Oh,
it,
what
but-
did like
Sorry.
This just happened.
Dave? What's going on here?
So
We need to talk to your parents.
I know I did it. Well, so problem is I grew up with powdered milk.
Oh yeah, no,
that'll turn you
you know
off to
what?
anything.
Now it's just completely you were scarred.
Yes.
for
But you had no
Yeah,
chance.
now we get it. Okay, I like we forgive you.
2%'s waiting for you if you ever just decide to come over. But you have powdered milk, forget it. I'm just impressed you're here today.
I would rather have it with water than powdered milk. So there you go. Now I get it. Now I'm
explains
inside
it.
of the whole thought process. So it's all
Wait,
good.
did you? So what cereal?
Oh, wow. I mean, I like Chex I like a lot of granolas, and I'm not a big sugary cereal guy anymore. Obviously when I'm a kid.
Yeah, when we were kids, we all did.
Yeah.
Captain Crunch without crunch berries. That's messed up right there.
That is weird.
You guys eating granola over there for breakfast?
What do you guys like? Dave brought his boys with him.
Favorite cereal?
Let's go
We're waiting over here.
Morning Summit.
Morning
Yeah, that's
Summit.
granola from Kirkland.
Granola Summit?
He's right on the verge of being like just.
This is happening. It's passed down to a generation right
No,
in front of us.
Kyle Van Noy was like cereal.
Peanut butter cup.
Our kids don't have cereal for breakfast. They have protein shakes. I was like, you're.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Kyle and Marissa are gonna raise like elite athletes.
Right.
Sounds like you're gonna do it too.
And I know you're wondering, could these two guys be that shallow? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
Captain
are.
Crunch. I'm Cinnamon Life right
Okay.
here. So.
All right.
Favorite dunk team or your favorite dunk team dunk. Let's like the favorite dunk you or your team have ever performed.
I call it the sleeper.
The sleeper.
Yep.
You gotta write
So
that down.
it's a front flip. As I'm flipping, I put it between my legs, and I dunk with my feet in my folded arms, and I'm just like laid out like I'm sleeping, and I'm dunking with my feet at that time.
Wait,
Has that been done at the Marriott Center?
No.
Do you have to spin around so your feet are around toward the rim?
Yeah, I go straight at the rim.
All right, now look, when you were doing the sleeper, like early on, how bad did that end up?
So it was in my mascot days, and I would put pads underneath my ankles.
Yeah,
and
I
put
hope
the
so.
fur over there, and I would just go at it and be fine with it. Like I
Just
don't know.
wherever you land, you land.
Yeah, I just didn't care.
No.
It was for the fun of the
Will we
game.
be seeing the sleeper at the Marriott Center this year?
Do you have anybody that
know,
can perform that other than you?
Because it
I
doesn't even sound legal.
I'm sure we could, but my facilities guys would be like, "You're going to touch the rim?"
Yeah, you don't want you to touch the rim.
Well, don't tell Scott and those guys. They don't need to know about
Is it
the
Scott
sleeper.
that freaks out? Who is he?
Yeah, I mean Scott.
We
and
can
all
talk
those
to
guys.
Scott.
If you'll let us know during the
Have you
game.
performed
Okay.
yet? We'll talk
You'll-
to Scott.
You'll as I'm doing it.
We'll
That way
distract
you
We'll
him.
just say, Scott, we overrode you this time. We hate to tell you,
We'll
brother.
distract Scott.
But we gave them permission to touch the rim on this one. He's like, you guys can't do that. We're like, well, we did.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you let us know
take it.
send us a note over during the broadcast that the sleeper is coming at halftime.
Okay.
And then we'll just tease it a little
Yeah.
bit.
okay.
And Dave and I have more. Like I don't know,
now-
we had 10 games or something this last year, but we'll have probably more because we'll do regular season games this year too. So we might have 18 games. So any
we
of those
have-
18 you can pick.
The sleeper's got to show up.
Sweet.
Okay,
I'll have them working on it.
And now last but certainly not least, your favorite BYU memory. Do you have one that just blows your mind?
So I was here during the Jimmer years, and oh my goodness, like it was crazy in the Marriott Center. And I mean, at the end when was it Gonzaga or St. Mary's? I can't remember. It was one of those two, and when we won, and everybody rushed the floor.
Gonzaga.
yeah, probably Gonzaga.
It was Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And I just remember just looking around, just going like, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. This is really cool.
The two regular season games against San Diego State too is just like wow.
The whole season was phenomenal.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You know what I remember about the floor storming Gonzaga win, which was just before COVID shut everything down. Remember that?
Yeah.
And we were anchoring the news a couple nights later, and it was reported that one person had COVID and was down there on the floor, and
And
then
everybody thought,
everyone just
"Oh,
freaked out
gosh,
because
yeah."
now thousands of people have been exposed.
Everybody
and,
stay home.
And I just remember just going, "Oh man, that's how I'm going to remember that moment."
No.
the aftermath of it, but the in the moment thing was
incredible.
phenomenal.
Yeah, that Jimmer's time was great. So many great memories we all have in the Marriott Center, so that's a good one though.
And that was a long time. Jimmer was a long time before COVID, but those were big moments.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's cool stuff.
whole
Well,
season was
we're
awesome.
excited. We started off the show just talking about football and basketball and just the momentum that these great sports have, and that carries over to great people in the arenas and for your dunk team, it's got to be really fun. Looking forward to a full arena. I can't imagine there wouldn't be a sellout for every game this year.
No, it's going to be crazy
for sure.
They're going to start out ranked in the top 5 in the country.
I already know that I'm going to have the greatest memories of my life in the next year. It's going to be awesome.
How many dates do you guys get?
How many days? So we're contracted for 4 men's and 4 women's, I think, this year.
Okay.
You'd be so
Or
fun.
maybe it's 5, but
And the women's team just got a couple of bigs. You know, Delaney and those guys were telling me they need some bigs. They picked up a couple of bigs, so women's could take a big
Do you
step
let them
forward,
know which games you want?
I will.
You say we want Kansas, we want
Yes.
Duke, whoever else coming. We want Houston. Yeah, just
Yeah.
say those are dunk nights.
Yes.
And the sleepers in one of those nights.
I ought to start meeting with Joel and those guys. And
Yeah,
start-
tell them the
start-
games. Well, here's the games we're going to do.
That's right.
And by the way, don't forget to tell us when you're doing
When the
sleeper.
sleeper, that's
and
right.
we'll give
Hey,
you permission.
and thank your friend Bob Hudson, who was on our show. And he was on our show because, he's the chair of the French and Italian department, and played football. Didn't play at BYU, but Kalani hosted him on his recruiting trip to BYU.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then he ended up attending BYU later. And anyway, as we were visiting, he goes, "Hey, I got a couple ideas for you. And you are one of them to get on here." And we're like, why
Yeah.
haven't
He
we
said,
done
"You-
that? Let's
you should
go.
have Dave on from the dunk team." We said, "Let's do it. We'll
Let's
find
do
him."
it.
Thanks, Bob.
So Bob
So
did
thank
this.
you for being here. Have a great summer. Now
will.
we
Likewise.
see you at football too. So what are you involved with? Are you involved with the fire dancers, or because you're
Cosmo,
coming off that field all the time?
Everything Cosmo, right?
Yeah.
But do you like? And I know you work closely with David Almodovar, right? With his group. Are you part of that whole fourth quarter, everything involved with that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to be over pyro and cryo and a lot of the special effects. Which I hold, like a couple of not degrees, but like
Certifications.
Certifications, yeah. And but now as we're getting on, we're kind of getting more fine tuned, and yeah, it's changing again, I'm sure, this year. But yeah, all things Cosmo. So
Awesome.
when we blow things up,
Cosmo's an institution.
Anything we could blow up,
Yes.
or anything with
You know
Cosmo.
how we feel about fire. So
Anything
you know
with the
you're two
dunk team,
biggest
anything
fans.
with fire, and anything that Cosmo's involved in, Dave's behind it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And this year we're upping it because it's our 150, years of
that's
BYU.
right.
So everything will have 150 something. And I don't know if I want to let the cat out of the bag, but we've got some big ones coming. It's gonna be
that's
a
good.
great year.
So right when we get ready for football season, we bring you back in. You can tell us, preview a few things for us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that'd be
right.
cool.
You got a deal.
Love it.
All
There
right.
we go.
Dave Eberhard of the Dunk Team. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we've
Thanks,
learned
Dave.
more
Always.
about the Dunk Team than we've ever had before. And now we're more excited to see them.
This BYU Cougars 84 Forever says, can we get Dave and Blaine on a special appearance on the Dunk Team? And
Yes.
that would require
I don't know.
multi-level medical signing off.
I let the guys convince me to play in the alumni football game a couple months ago. That was a big stretch. I don't know if I could do the Dunk
Still
Team.
recovering. We actually
So-
had Chad Lewis try it. He wanted to do a flip dunk at a basketball game, and I was like, "Let's go."
Oh
Yeah.
my
But
gosh.
he hit it a couple times, and he's like, "I'm not built
Too
for
scary.
this."
Yeah, he's a little long for that.
Those are different.
Yeah, I don't know. And by the way, in the football game, I threw a really good touchdown, and they're like, "Are you going to go back in next year?" I said, "No, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm leaving on that. I'm done." So that's it.
Right.
Dave, thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you.
And we look
Appreciate
forward to
it,
having
brother.
you back in the fall.
Thanks,
Yep.
Dave. Thanks,
That'll be
Blaine.
awesome.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. The Dunk Team. And we've learned how you get on the team, the tryouts twice a year.
Hey,
and
thanks for
how
coming with your dad,
How
guys.
they come up with the dunks. 2 future members of the Dunk Team, Dave's kids with us, right? All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, how about that?
That's bad. It's so fun to see behind the tonight's been a fun show. We're seeing behind the scenes with the cheer squad. We're seeing behind the scenes with the Dunk Team and with Cosmo and all of that. because there's so much a part of this game day experience that we all take for granted. I don't think we take it for granted. I think everybody realizes that BYU is one of the best environments for college football and basketball and all things, and college volleyball for that matter.
I think we all enjoy it. It's just then we find out the detail that goes into making it happen.
And it takes a lot of work from a lot of people that doesn't get recognized. So it's cool for us to be able to recognize that.
So Dave Eberhard, and before him, 4 members of the national champion cheer and stunt squad back from Daytona. And this all leads up to our next guest, who is a man who's working to make life better for folks in Africa through basketball. And you may recognize him from a previous visit.
A friend of the show, for sure.
Keba Keita's American Guardian family, and a pleasure to welcome Carlos Iglesias back to the Wise Guys. So I just want you to know the expectation we have for this interview, and DJ's getting the light just right, and then he'll bring you on here. The cheer squad raised the bar with the energy, and you were here and watched that.
Unbelievable.
And then
so fun, right?
The dunk team mastermind is in here talking about the high-flying dunks and all that stuff.
And told us we have some crazy things to look forward to in football season.
And all that leads up to you. Just want you to know, no pressure, but this is where we're at. It's great to have you back.
Thank you. That's a hard follow-up. It's unbelievable, the energy that national cheer squad had. I mean, to hear what the energy that came from that, and then to hear their different perspectives, and then understanding who was the young man?
Ammon on the end.
Ammon wraps it up with,
what an end.
Talking about why and talking about the religion and the fundamentals of the church and how they affect him, and how we can be great without sacrificing our core morals.
Yeah,
that was just
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, his teammates looked at him and went, "Dude,"
yeah.
And I saw him walking out and like, "Dude, that was an awesome finish."
Yeah,
like you nailed it.
Yeah,
which he did.
Yeah, he did. He was having testimony meeting right there.
It was awesome.
There are so many good kids at BYU. You know, we focus a lot on the athletes here in this show, but we have the landscape national champions in here a couple weeks ago. They're just the brightest and best from all over the world, and these 4 that fit that mold. Keba fits that mold with the basketball team, and you spend half your life now at the Marriott Center, but you sense it. You look around at the student section, and it's different. It's just different here.
It is. There's this thing out there that we're all hearing about, and you guys touched on it a little bit. BYU's paying the most money, and as an American parent to Keba and host family assist to some of these other players, that's not true. Yes, they're being competitive, but it is what these coaches and these staffs are bringing to BYU, and they're bringing the core morals with it, but they have high standards, and having those high standards not only in athletics but academically and spiritually, that's a combination that is hard to beat. Look at what the football team did. I mean, when they went 5-7
2 years ago,
yeah, and then all of a sudden 11-2. I mean, I didn't expect that.
No one did.
That was just, and again, that goes to, and Kalani did a great job of keeping the staff, the players, and then having them excel. You look at what BYU's done. We've had Dave Rose, what a great coach.
Yeah.
Okay, a great staff. Then comes Mark Pope, unbelievable coach. Then who's this Kevin Young dude? He comes in. I've got Keba up at the University of Utah.
Right.
The whole thing pretty much blows up, and I feel bad because Craig Smith. I love Craig Smith. What a great
and we know
coach.
Craig well. I knew him from the Colorado State games. I love Craig Smith as well. In fact, when he took that job, I'm like, oh no, Utah's gonna be really good.
But they didn't get there.
They just
no.
And I don't know if they had the resources and the things that he needed up there to succeed.
Right. It just seemed like the support wasn't there, but. Here, and then we have, so that happens, and Keba goes, I got to go, Burgess is out. Like, okay, right. I got to get into the portal. So I'm like, okay, you sure? Now, because I've been trying to help, Craig Smith, we're in it for the academics. Number one, you're going to pick your school, and then you're going to stay all 4 years, unless something like the coaching staff blows up, and that's pretty much what happened. So Kaba, meets with Kevin Young. I meet with Kevin Young first, and I'm like, okay, this guy's there's just something about him. And then he meets with Kaba. I'm in Guatemala, and he's doing his visit. He comes home, Carrie's, he comes home and tells Carrie, I guess he has the longest conversation he's ever had with Carrie. I think it lasted 10 minutes.
He's poured his soul out for 10 minutes.
I'm glad you brought your wife in here today.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, I think I'm going to go to BYU. And it wasn't for the money, because there was a lot more money out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
There was something special. And then, okay, here we go. We start the season. And look at the season we had 1 year with Kevin Young.
Well,
Yeah.
So there's a lot. And if you talk to the players, I've been able to go to practice and stuff. And you talk to those players, they felt like they had a connection that was unbelievable. And Kaba said that. Yegor said that. Richie has said that. All those kids are. So there's something special. And it's a lot more than just money. So
Brock Harris was on with us last week, 4-star tight end down in Pineview High School in St. George. And Blaine asked him what set BYU apart from all the places that
Because
you toured, and he said
Michigan, Georgia, like everybody was offering Brock Harris, one of the top tight ends in America.
and without hesitation, he goes, it's the spirit, man. He goes, the spirit's at BYU, and then he expounded on it a little bit. And here's a kid who still has a senior year of high school coming up. That's not prodded by anybody. It's just what he felt and recognized. And then he said, and all the other big time recruits coming here, they feel it too. And now opposition to BYU hates to hear that because they can't recruit against that, right? It's like, that's usually
They must be paying them more money.
it can't possibly be true.
Yeah.
But here's Brock Harris, could go to anywhere, and he goes, no, the spirit's there. That's what I want to be around. And you don't have to be a member of the church to feel it, to experience it, because we've seen this roster come together with guys who all want to be here for all the reasons that include, it just feels good to be here.
it's amazing. And you heard what Demon said,
Yeah, and we know that Jaeger's not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but he basically bore his testimony about how his faith grew while he was here.
Yeah.
And that was one of the greatest parts of his experience here.
Yeah.
So
we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes.
But let's start, since you brought up Kevin Young, let's go right there.
Okay.
This roster that has been built, and Kaba's been here and kind of watched the whole thing here in the offseason. World's #1 recruit. A couple other guys, and now Richie announcing he's back, and so now you've got this nucleus where I would imagine that your center is feeling like they're going places next year.
Yeah, he's pretty excited, but he's like, okay, let's not get too excited. He's like,
we're way past.
Yeah. He's like,
Right.
he himself, because he's so quiet. He's, he's an introvert, and so he doesn't want to get like ahead of it.
Right.
But yeah.
it's his mentality. We just got work to do now.
We got work to do. We got work
that.
to do. Yeah, and he's excited. I mean, obviously that Richie component. Kaba doesn't say a whole lot, but I know that was very, very nice to see that. Sure. The cherry on.
Yeah, are he and Richie close? Does he?
Not really. They communicate when they have to, but no, Kaba's pretty independent. I mean, him and Foose would talk, but they communicate when they need to, which is that's Kaba.
Well, the motto of the school is the world's our campus. Just look at the basketball roster.
Oh my gosh!
Right, so
You're
you've got an opportunity. How it gets tied together will be interesting.
Yeah,
because you literally have players from all over the world still, and now the expectation to be great.
Oh yeah, and I think they'll perform. I mean, what Kevin's done, and being able to work with some of those coaches that they have on staff. They understand what's behind this whole thing, and it's not just, we're going to run a pro style game and we're going to just send everybody to the NBA.
Right.
I mean, it's everything, and I've had personal conversations and interactions with some of these coaches, and it's been unbelievable. It just continues to solidify and validate what BYU is about and what they really do care. They care about the education. They care about the well-being of these kids.
Yeah, and that's not always the case.
No.
Yeah. So
How has basketball been used as a tool? Let's talk about Mali, where Kaba's from, in Africa, and you have some projects going on there that we want to talk about for the next few minutes. How's basketball been used as a tool to bless the lives of African young people?
Yeah. Well, and bless the lives of a lot of other youth that basketball is just a tool to bring some kind of structure, but yet hope for these young men. Obviously, we don't. If I can go back a little bit in time, in 2016 was the first time I went to Mali, Africa. And we're doing eye surgeries, we're doing teeth extractions, we're doing basketball camps, we're doing days for girls, a lot of health education. And they wanted a basketball camp. They've never experienced anything like that from the U.S. because Mali is a travel for advisory country.
Yeah.
Westerners shouldn't really go there.
right.
And so they've never got to see an NBA style camp. So they wanted something like that. And I was invited by Mike Clayton, who is the founder of the Mali Wellness Foundation, to come and help with the basketball camps and, the building of a basketball court. They already had everything organized, and I was just there to help.
Yeah.
And then things changed like 2 weeks before. Carlos, our coach, bailed out because he had something come up. The contractor that was coming with us, he had something come up, so he couldn't go. So I ended up having to beg and plead for other coaches, and we got a coach out of BYU to come with us. And then I helped with. I led the construction crew, but it was a great experience in 2016. Having those kids come to those courts to play basketball gives these young men hope, and it gives them a reason to come to school because most of these courts are at school, and school isn't necessarily mandatory there. There's nobody there that's going to hold them accountable. You got to go to school. You're not going to get arrested. So we've got to do something to keep these kids in school. So why not sports? And so that's how we started having these camps. Who's been involved in these camps? Richie Saunders.
Yeah.
Back when he was 15, he started. Amazing. Jared McGregor, he's on the team. Then obviously, as these young men started to continue to grow and help and learn how to serve, we started to take some of these young men that we've
That came to the
camps, right, and learned. And then giving them an opportunity to come to the United States to get a high school education and hopefully get a college degree. And then obviously some of these kids, and we've been very, very fortunate to have some great athletes come through the camps. Madi Susoko, who ended up going to Michigan State for 4 years.
Right.
Last year he was at Cal. Then Foose.
Yeah.
And what an incredible career he's had here at BYU. As a matter of fact, I called him a couple of hours ago, and he said, Foose, you're a college graduate from the United States. And it just, he's so excited, really excited. And then following him, Kaba.
Right.
And so to see that we have now multiple young men who have come to high school, got a high school education, and now have gotten a college degree. That means so much for these young men because their country does not have opportunities. You got to be a small clique, very well connected, and good luck if you find a decent job. So this gives them a great opportunity. So this is one aspect, one way to do this.
Yeah.
And you do camps now, the Africa Elite basketball camps, not just in Mali, right? You do them in Senegal as well?
Yes. So we'll do it this year. We'll do it in Senegal and in Mali. Last year I wasn't there with them, but they hit Egypt because we had Khalifa.
Yeah.
And we had Egypt, Senegal, and Mali.
And then when these camps start, the kids who are running the camps are the kids who used to be in the camps.
Yes.
So we're talking about Keba, Kadeem Mbu.
Yep.
Moat Mag.
Yep.
And who else is involved with it this year?
And so we have Malik. Malik, who plays for TCU.
Right.
Okay.
He's the young man that we brought after Keba.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And great kid. He's the most talkative of all the boys that we've brought over. Very. And then we have Ali Tori, Ali Topo, and they are right now at Anthem Prep, working with Coach Marty Hawes.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
he's there, and oh my gosh, I'm drew a blank, but Dave Rose's brother, I believe, is
Grant.
Is there. Sorry, Grant. Having an old moment.
We love the Rices.
Yes. And so those boys, they now come back and give back to these camps that we have. And what's amazing is you look at the children that are there, even the school teachers and the staff or the administrators, like they look at these young men and it's like, wow, they've really grown up, and look at the opportunity. And not to get into any details, but these young men are starting to give back. Like the court that we're going to be building a court in Senegal, and that'll be, Kadeem's court, that's amazing, and these courts are made out of, they're concrete courts, they're real courts. And those are very expensive, hard to come by.
Rare over there. Right?
Very rare. Yeah. And then in Mali, we're going to do the same thing, and that one will be supported by Malik, and so it's just amazing to watch these young men be able to grow and get educated, have an opportunity to learn a whole different culture, language, and then give back, and it's moving, to see progress.
Well, this movement isn't cheap.
No.
And Cougar Nation is engaged. When they get involved in a good cause, we've seen it here on Wise Guys. A lot of people just need to know, hey, how can I help further this along? This even goes to improving people's access to water.
Yes.
With what you've got. So these basketball camps in Senegal and Mali, going to go build a court and do these things this year. How can people help?
Well, the Mali Wellness Foundation. Okay. They can get on the Mali Wellness Foundation, and I think I gave you guys the
donations.maliwellnessfoundation.org. The link's right there in the stream.
Perfect. And it categorizes if you want to do for villages, you want to do, but really what we're looking for, if there's any way, is support in this athletic venture that we're doing. And there's one for sports if you look in there, and it'll say for like $20 or whatever, and you can click it as many times as you want. But that would be very helpful. It's funny, if it's okay if I talk a little bit about background on this. Yeah. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine who happens to be my wife's boss. His name's Rich Hart, and we're just talking on my...
Is he a good boss?
I think he's a great boss.
Okay, we'll give him a shout out. Nice job being a good boss.
He's a great boss.
Okay.
And I said, I'm looking at my bank account. It's none of us, Mike Clayton, us board members, we don't get paid. Right. And so we rely on our funding and our donations and everything. And I'm looking I think we're going to come up short. I'm looking at my savings account. I'm like, oh my gosh. Let's hey, Rich, hey, you got some friends, we just need a little bit of help here and everything. And he's like, yeah, I'll rally up some friends and everything. And then of course he talks to Jack, who's the producer, our main guy here that provides the studio and everything. And they're like, Carlos, just get on the show. There's people that want to help. And it's uncomfortable to ask for money. So we're very grateful to be on here. And we're
Wise Guys are your friends.
That's right. That's right.
How much do we need to raise?
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if we can get to 5,000. I mean, we could always use more than that, but that's...
Where are we at? Are we anywhere near 5,000? How much work do we need to do?
Well, Rich Hart started the kickoff, so yeah, we were over 1,000 yesterday, and so I haven't looked at it. We have a team right now, and one of the board members who's over the account, he's in Mali right now, and they're doing eye surgeries, and they're going to try to do 150 cataract surgeries in 1 week. And we've took 3 doctors and a couple nurses, and so we're trying to have some success there in that avenue. We do that every year. So, but it's awesome. It's awesome, and so.
Okay, so be specific on the website when we go to MaliWellnessFoundation.org. What exactly do we need to click on?
Okay, so when you get there, then you'll scroll. You'll scroll to donate.
Okay.
Okay, and then once you go to donate, there's different. Do you want to donate for the well? Do you want to donate for a village?
For this, we're going for sports.
And then they'll say basketball. They'll say other soccer or whatever. Just whatever sport.
That all will go to the same.
To the same.
Okay.
Is that fund that you need to be able to go help continue to do what you guys are doing?
Now, please, everybody understand the show is going on.
Right. It's not hinging. It's not hinging on this.
It's not hinging on that. But we would appreciate. And people always ask, how could we help? How could we support? Some people want to go, and they're more than welcome to come. But this is a way that they can help. Even it's $5, $20, $100. Whatever they feel comfortable with. But again, why do we do this? We do this to help these young men have a future. Their parents are giving up these children for a future for their families and their villages and their communities. And we're seeing the fruits of our labor that we started back in 2016, to have college graduates, and these kids are starting to give back to their communities. That is our whole purpose. And BYU has been so good in providing the atmosphere for it. And it's, we have kids that have gone to other schools, but you think about Foose, the kind of person that young man is. You look at Richie Saunders and Jared McGregor, and you look at Kaba, and these kids are all coming here for a reason. And it's a special place. The fan base is unbelievable. The support here is unbelievable. And so it's just the right place to do this.
And this has to go a little deeper for you here. This is part of who you are in changing people's lives. So I know it goes deep for you.
Yeah.
How deep does it go?
You got to get there, don't you? You have to.
I saw it and I said, I'm going to take it and we're going to go right.
Growing up, and I think I shared this before, growing up, inner city LA kid, single parent, struggled, we struggled. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I always said, if there's a way that I could give back one day, if I can just make enough money to make ends meet, I'm going to try to help people. And my wife will attest to that. It's like, you're doing too much, not that she doesn't want it, but you don't lose perspective, all right? You got to take care of yourself, your health, and everything else. Mm-hmm. But it is, there's nothing better that touches a human heart, that moves, than serving others. And I don't care how many problems you have. There's other people that are suffering, dealing with way more. And think about the loved ones that you have, that when they're struggling, and you have to help them emotionally, and you see the uplifting that you can do. So for me, this has been one aspect, one way we can do it. If you remember that show last time, we had Travis Hansen come back, and he does some great work.
Right.
Okay.
With orphanages.
And if you ask him, what you get in here, you just can't replay. And it's just doing the Lord's work. You're serving others. So.
You're a good man, and we're happy to share all of that stuff with with Cougar Nation, and of course listening on our podcast. If you're not seeing it, you're hearing it. MollyWellnessFoundation.org. Go to sports, donate what you can. We're going to get to that 5,000 spot,
Yes.
and let you continue to do your work.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you again for inviting me. This is a great show, and it was great to listen to that. The Cheer Squad.
Yeah, they're so
right.
yeah.
We got national champions here, guys.
Yeah, we do.
Cougar Nation.
Here's our last question for you, Carlos.
All right.
Yeah.
With Debansis, Saunders, Cater, Wright, and Kennard in the starting five, how far?
I told him not to write off Diomande too.
How far is this BYU team going next year? We're going to write it down here at the end of April.
What's your prediction? Is this a Final Four team?
I think it's a Final Four team. Wow. If the coaches continue to do what they're doing, do not lose focus, academics, moral compass, and then you got these kind of athletes, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong.
Good times ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really excited.
Let's get this. Let's get your camps going first here this summer, and then we'll get back to
Then
basketball.
we'll all watch it with great interest and fun next.
And keep us posted on
Yeah,
things.
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate
You
it,
got it, man.
Carlos.
Yep.
Thanks for coming
Yep.
in, man.
All right, Carlos Iglesias, our longtime friend, and up to more good around the world, especially in Africa with basketball. We encourage you to think about supporting however you can as they put that together. And Kaba and M. Boop, Mag, they'll all be down there working the camps.
That's right.
I think that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, now look, we're a little past longer than we go, but it's been such an awesome show. Let's take a few minutes and run through what's going on campus, because we like, when you're done listening to the wise guys, we like you to know everything that's going on at BYU. So let's
we'll hustle through some
jump
campus
right in
notes
through
for you.
these.
So let's start with men's volleyball. They're 19-10 on the season. National ranking of number 8. Stanford beat BYU 3-2 in the quarterfinals of the MPSF tournament.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it hurts. Luke Benson was first team all MPSF, and then Mike Romanis second team all MPSF. So they'll run it back again next year, and
there's so much fun.
Their goal every year is to be in the Final Four.
Yeah,
every year.
There's so much fun
high expectations for that team.
Baseball's now 21-21, 6-15 in the Big 12. They beat Grand Canyon earlier today, 10-9. The Lopes hit into a double play with bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth. For some high drama there, but BYU hangs on. Arizona State swept the Cougars earlier in the last weekend by a combined score of 36-13. It just wasn't a good week for the pitching. In the Big 12, West Virginia's in first at 16-3. BYU's tied for 12th at 6-15. They got some work to do to make the conference tournament and keep hope alive. Kansas State comes to town this week. Thursday at 6:30, Friday at 6:30, Saturday at 1:30. All those games on ESPN Plus and BYU Radio. A couple of thoughts on baseball on the stream. We'll dive into it later on, as we still have a month of the season. But pitching's got to get better, and they're fighting to get to the conference tournament. But you know what? It's just been tough.
Yeah, been a rough
when the
year.
other team has better pitching wins. And they're getting a lesson of that here, especially these last few weeks in the Big 12.
Yeah, with softball 30-14, 12-9 in the league. BYU went 1-2 at Baylor. Big 12 standings: Texas Tech in first at 18-3. Arizona is second, 14-7. Iowa State third, 13-8. Arizona State 14-10 in fourth, and then BYU's in fifth place with a 12-9 record.
They're going to the NCAA tournament as an at-large now.
Yeah, and they have had some crazy comeback wins in the last few weeks. They can hit the ball. My goodness. So I love his Brittingham. She's the 2025 National Fast Pitch Coach Association Freshman of the Year.
She makes the top 25 list.
Oh, the top 25 list for that. That's right.
That just came out.
Oh, that's right, because they're not going to
Then
announce
they'll
it until
whittle it
May.
down.
Yeah, they're not going to announce it until the end of May at the College World Series. So she's been phenomenal as a freshman. So up next, number 12, Texas Tech. At BYU, that's Thursday at 5, Friday at 5, and Saturday at 5. All
That's
those
a
games.
series.
ESPN Plus. That's going to be a big one.
That's a series. Men's golf finished 9th at the Big 12 Championships. They weren't happy about that. Oklahoma State won it. NCAA Regionals are coming up next, May 12th through the 14th.
And how about track and field? Men's ranking number 13, BYU. On the women's side, has come up.
Jumped all the way to 13.
They're number 13 now. So a couple of top 13 teams in track. And remember that men's and women's cross country are defending national champs. So track and field is rolling here at BYU. Lexi Halliday Lowry is the National Track and Field Female Athlete of the Week. Yeah. So up next is the Robinson Invitational on Wednesday through Friday.
You know what that means? That means if you're trying to park anywhere near that area,
forget
good
about
luck.
it.
Or going to the Wendy's.
Yeah, forget about it.
Either one of those spots.
Just go through the drive-thru. So Big 12 championships are May 15th through the 17th.
On this day, April 28th, 1788, Maryland became the 7th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. Nice job, Maryland. You don't hear much about Maryland.
No, Maryland just kind of, you know what? They just quietly get things done in Maryland. That's what they do. So in 1910, the first night air flight by Claude Graham White in England.
Yeah, he pulled that off. Good for him.
Did they
I don't
even
know
have
if anyone
landing lights? They
saw
have
it.
landing lights? They just light flares? Like, well, how did he land?
Maybe people just took his word for it. Hey, it was up last night.
Yeah, I went out and flew at night. How do we know? They don't know.
1930, the first night organized baseball game in Independence, Kansas.
1930, they just do headlights? Like, how did they do it?
I don't know, but that's Kansas that they figured out.
It's the Midwest.
On the high plains.
1937, the first commercial flight across the Pacific by Pan American Airlines was completed.
1956, on this day, Hall of Famer Frank Robinson hit the first of his 586 career home runs. This was when he was with the Reds.
There you go. 1956 on this day, huh? How about 1987 on April 28th? The NBA awards franchises to Charlotte and Miami in 1988. And then again in 1989 on this day to Minneapolis and Orlando.
Well, those are big moves.
4 additions to the league.
On this day in 2003, Andre Agassi recaptures the world's #1 ranking to become the oldest top-ranked male in the history of the ATP rankings. He was 33 years old in 13 days. Now he's moved on to pickleball.
Yeah, that's right. I forget.
It's better on the
Well, and he has a big academy school down there where they do tennis and all that. So, and when I say down there, in Vegas. Yep. So in 2011, on April 28th, the Carolina Panthers select Cam Newton with the #1 pick in the NFL draft.
On this day in 2016, the Rams went with Jared Goff with the #1 pick.
Why did that trade work so well when quarterbacks traded places from the Lions and the Rams?
Just
and
did.
Both teams ended up better.
Yeah.
That was so weird.
Everyone dreams of a trade like that.
Yeah. So 2019, on April 28th, Avengers Endgame became the first movie to exceed $1 billion in revenue on an opening weekend.
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
they did
it
a nice
was.
job. They brought in $1.2 billion that weekend.
Wow.
April 28th birthdays.
And you know, all Carlos needs $5,000.
Yeah, I think we can generate that.
$1.2 billion in a weekend, and all we need is $5,000.
Yeah.
Doesn't that put it in perspective?
You know, we could use Iron Man to help us out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
April 28th birthdays, 1817, James Monroe, 5th president of the United States.
Why do you not hear a lot about James Monroe? I feel like I don't hear a lot about him.
We came around her. You and I were born later.
That's true. I thought about that. In 1916, on April 28th, Ferruccio Lamborghini was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, the auto designer.
Every now and then, one of those comes by on the freeway.
I just call mine a Lambo. I didn't call it a Lamborghini. I just call it a Lambo.
Yeah, I go with the full name. It just sounds like something you'd order.
Yeah.
You know, with some red sauce. 1926, on this day, Harper Lee was born. Wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
In 1937, on this day, Saddam Hussein was born.
Boy, he had an impact on the world in
Yeah, for
a variety of ways.
Yeah.
1950, Jay Leno was born on this day.
Yeah, how about that? In 1966, John Daly, the golfer, was born.
And he looks like he's 1,000 years old.
When I was at the Masters a couple years ago,
his beard's down to his stomach.
He was hosting a big event, and I can't remember which wings or chicken place it was, but I thought, how appropriate. He's hosting a big, huge lunch, and we were just pounding wings. So
I did a few stories with him in Vegas with the PGA Tour down there. Just a pleasure to be around.
He is just a good old boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So fun.
Jessica Alba, born on this day in 1981.
Yes.
All right, those who died.
What's your favorite Jessica Alba movie?
I don't even know. I don't even know any.
I was Into the Blue.
Okay.
It's like a scuba diving movie where they get treasure, and it's that's
with
the one.
sharks involved?
Yeah, lots of sharks.
Okay.
So there you go.
April 28 deaths. 1973, Klaus Thunberg, 5-time gold medalist speed skater.
Yeah.
Heard of that name before.
How about 1993? Jim Valvano, North Carolina State head coach. So, and how about, BYU plays in the Jimmy V Classic December 9th in Madison Square Garden in honor of Jim Valvano.
Yeah, we still don't know who the opponent is, but it's going to be big.
It'll be big.
That'll be a big one. On this day in 2001, Ken Hughes. Who's Ken Hughes? He was the director of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the 9-hour movie that had a halftime show.
It's not 9 hours.
Felt like it as a kid. And it still feels like it as an adult.
He was great.
I saw it at the Sierra Theater, and I thought the movie was over. It was just halftime. I'm like, what's an intermission?
Intermission for a movie.
So we went out and got some snacks, and we came back. It was 2 more hours.
But you have to admit, Truly Scrumptious, she was fantastic in that movie.
I'll tell you what, I admit that child catcher, I still have problems with that.
To this day is the most diabolical bad guy I've ever seen in a movie. I still get the creeps when I watch that movie from the child catcher.
It's like Jaws. I turn away. I'm like, I don't need to see it.
People talk about all the crazy things in movies. How about the child catcher when we were kids?
That was nuts.
That was scary. So, okay. How about 2021, Michael Collins, the astronaut, Gemini 10 and Apollo 11, pass away on this day.
Just one more thought on Ken Hughes. When he passed on and went back to, where he came from in the next life?
Yeah.
He had to answer for that.
For the child catcher.
Yeah.
Like, what made you think of this dialogue?
Why would you do that to everybody?
Hello, children. And then he had this cart that was like an ice cream cart, and he got him to go in the back, and then he pushes a button, the drapes fall down, and they're in a cage.
That might even kept him out. He might be out.
Scariest.
I don't even know if he got in.
I mean, if you get people out there, if you can think of a more diabolical bad guy than the child catcher, I'd like to know.
Thanos had his thing going, but he had nothing on this guy.
Nothing on this guy.
The Wise Guy's inspirational quote of the week is from Jim Valvano, who said,
"If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. You do that 7 days a week, you're going to have something special."
We did all that on this show tonight.
Laugh, think, and cry. Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And we needed Carlos to cry because then that finished us off.
That's exactly right.
So we got there. Thanks to the BYU Cheer Squad national champions, Dave Eberhardt of the BYU Dunk Team, and Carlos Iglesias. Might be one of our best shows ever.
Yeah, it was so fun. Next week, we got a blockbuster show for you next week. We got Blair True coming on.
Okay.
The very famous LDS producer and director, produced a bunch of feature films for Disney and down Hollywood, and then has done a bunch of church films. Recently produced and is launching a documentary called Finding Aloha.
Great.
Which talks all about the Polynesian Cultural Center and the impact it has on the kids that come from all over Polynesia and get an education, much like Carlos is doing with Africa.
Yeah.
The PCC does this for kids around Polynesia and gets them education. So it'll be great to have him come and tell his stories, and he'll have some fun things to tell us about making a bunch of the church films that you've seen too.
Yeah, so and Chase Roberts will be with us next week.
Chase Roberts. How about that day? We'll bring Chase Roberts in, talk football, and then we're going to talk movies and all that with Blair True.
Yeah.
So what a great week next week.
Where you can find us this week, I'm doing Sports Nation Friday, and then I'm in the Deseret News this week. Are you golfing? Getting a massage? What do you got?
If I would be at the concert of Jelly Roll,
but you're not.
Tomorrow night. But I'm not going because I have to get up and have Uber pick me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to take me to the airport because I've got to be in meetings in Phoenix. And then
it's going to be hot down there.
I'm going straight from my flight in Salt Lake City. Brandon's picking me up. We're driving to Idaho Falls because I'm co-hosting the Sports Station special on Saturday in the Fan Fest in Idaho Falls.
So go over there and say hi to Blaine.
If you're in Idaho, folks, come over to the Fan Fest. It's from 11 a.m. to 1. We'll have the coaches there, a bunch of players there. Spencer Linton and I are going to do a live show from there and do a bunch of interviews. But come say hi to us.
That's great. Congratulations to Andrew McCann, who graduates from Utah State on Friday. So I'll be up there for that. He's living proof that you can be an Aggie and a Cougar fan at the same time.
There you go. Hey, and I don't know if any of you saw today, but we're making shout outs to our kids. So Libby Fowler Lloyd, was on the Today Show this morning.
Oh, is that
she
right?
performed on the Today Show this morning. Yeah.
They had a whole group up?
They had her cast from Smash. She was right there front and center. And I was like, whoa, Libs, way to be right there.
Great deal.
So Libby was on the Today Show this morning.
Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. Look for the podcast out tomorrow morning, wherever you get your podcast. And then we're forever on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel, our Twitch channel, and home base, wiseguys.com.
Phil Jenkins, we're going to leave with his comment. One of the best shows ever. I agree. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. See you guys.